I think we're on. We're live. Welcome, 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 welcome. Today I will do this. Okay. So, this is the first official, like, whatever you guys might call it, episode of talking
Talk theory.
talk theory. And today we're gonna philosophize poo eating.
Philosophize shit eating.
Shit eating, yeah. But like, why? What was the
This is a philosophy of. This is an expose of a philosophy, which is the philosophy of non-difference. So, as per the philosophy of non-difference, if shit is equal to non-shit and non-shit is equal to shit, then non-shit is shit.
right? So
if you eat
if
non-shit,
shit is equal to
non-shit.
non-shit, right?
So if you're eating non-shit, you're eating shit.
Right. So if you're eating non-shit, you're
You're eating shit.
if you're eating non-shit, right? Then you're eating shit. Oh, what the fuck does that even mean?
So it's the, let's say, the Spinozan,
Right. Okay.
Greek Nietzschean postmodernist
Yeah.
disease of denying phenomenon, which is like, well, which is the material idealism of Berkeley, as we talked in the first episode.
Yeah.
So suppose this packy guy is sitting in front of me.
Right. What would you
But
do?
as per the material idealism,
Yeah.
you're just an illusion. You're not real.
You don't even exist,
Yes,
man.
you don't even exist. But let's really believe in it
That I don't exist.
as a philosophical doctrine.
But I think
of Berkeley, Kant named it material idealism.
Oh.
Well, then he refuted it, but his refutation is quite sparse over the whole book. I have made the whole argument quite
Palatable?
coherent, and made the whole argument in one place, in a paper which I possibly cannot
Share.
perhaps
Because
divulge it.
right.
But that's so. Let's start with wash or
yeah.
let's start with wash.
This is a show, right, with my other person dude, right? His name is Mr. Escobar, right? Sahib Kiran.
Well, it's fine.
Okay.
La video.
Right? So, in which we just talk theory, right?
We talk theory.
Yeah. So, we are
So
talking.
unheard.
Yeah.
UN.
Unheard?
UNHE.
I know how to spell
No, not unheard.
Heard?
Yes, ER. No, HE.
R.
R. B.
B.
D. D. Space.
Right, okay.
Space.
Space.
Zizek.
Zizek. Slavo Zizek. Right? Do you guys know who Slavo is?
Yes.
This one?
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna watch this together, right?
But
Hello
not yet.
and welcome to Unheard
not yet.
Ideas. I'm
Okay.
Florence
Let's
Reed.
start with
We live in
wash
strange times.
wash.
There's no denying it.
first.
Right. Okay.
Because well,
This is
it
a.
should be.
This is a right. Okay, wait. So this is a. This is we are covering one of the political people, right?
No, we're just talking theory.
Right, and we're talking theory, right?
No, we are not discussing anything political.
Yeah.
That's just dumb.
So
we're just talking
just,
theory.
We're just looking at different. Right. One more. Which video are we gonna talk about?
वॉश की जो मुझे भेजी थी तुमने
The
वही कर
Jordan
दो।
Peterson one.
हाँ वही कर दो चाहे
Right. Okay.
या anything that's new या वही वो वाली ठीक
Yeah. Hello, Punchinello. And I thought that was your dad. The fuck, man. It's not. That. He's too white. Oh, Trump is back.
Trump is back.
You wanna watch this?
and
Like we can watch this.
well
Like his take on it, like Trump being back and stuff.
yes
Right. And I mean, we are all like, can you believe this?
but by the way let's start with something like
Yeah.
I was thinking there was a logical positivist
Right.
named I think the first name is Andrew. Well, all of you Westerners, I'm really sorry, I just never remember your first names. Perhaps you even
Andrew something.
Andrew Carnap,
Oh my god.
or
There are so
his
many
surname
Andrews.
is Carnap.
Right.
He was some kraut, some Austrian kraut,
Right.
and of the I think the logical positivism school. But I don't subscribe to logical positivism. I mean, well, not as far as I think of.
And just think of me as like a dumb person who doesn't know what logical.
No, but it's of no consequence.
Right.
But the thing which I'm going to talk about,
Yeah.
Carnap, it just flew around my head watching Trump declare.
Okay.
And people criticizing me for it.
People criticize. Trump.
Criticizing, it's like they think he is doing something desperate. Or let's say, because I see in Trump doing this desperation of failure as a great thing to bounce back from.
What did he say in the speech when he announced himself? Did he say something like the last time, the speech was kind of very.
I think we should watch the video, but not yet.
Okay.
What I was saying is about Carnap, whatever his first name is. He said, and it's gonna make sense,
Right.
He said, if any proposition can be established empirically,
Yeah.
that means with some real world evidence of something.
Okay.
If you can prove something empirically, then it turns that thing into a fact.
Yes, if you prove something empirically, it turns it into a fact.
Yes. But then he says that all the value judgments or moral judgments,
Yeah.
all the moral judgments, if you can prove them empirically, they become facts.
But
they
you-
don't remain moral.
But you can't prove them empirically.
Now,
How?
suppose, let's talk about utilitarianism or anything like, okay, this kind of philosophy has not let the world start a World War III.
Alright.
Let's suppose it's an empirical proposition.
Okay.
Or suppose this kind of liberalism, wherever it went.
When you say empirical,
Empirical.
right, what do you?
Let's say we're loosely talking about evidence.
Evidence would be like like a fact, and then
A fact connecting with a theory.
Yeah, but like empirical, like isn't this like like science has
Yes,
empirical,
yes.
empirical.
Yes, science
Yeah.
is empirical.
Yeah.
Now, the demand on a valid moral theory is
Yeah.
always that it should be established empirically. The success of this moral theory should be established empirically. But
Alright.
when you prove it empirically,
Yeah.
it becomes a fact. Then, if it's a fact, it's not a moral theory.
It is not a moral theory then.
So,
Yeah.
how do you develop a moral theory?
How do you,
I have found a solution for it.
how to develop a moral theory?
How to develop a moral theory?
Right. Okay.
My take on that is that the only way out of this paradox
Yeah.
is a paradoxical answer. The only way to develop a moral theory is
Yeah.
hypocrisy.
Is by hypocrisy?
Yes.
How do you-
Because if you take a moral value hypocritically,
Yeah.
then you're not demanded to prove it.
Yeah.
Then you keep the ideal floating.
Exactly. Then you're not demanded to prove it.
You overhead.
Yeah.
You can keep the ideal, the moral value, keep floating
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
as a hypocrisy, with no demands to be turned into. So the real moral theories are always possible in hypocrisies.
No, but isn't
So
it,
hypocrisy is, I think, the most moral rendition of.
that is the whole basis of like even postmodernism is like just based on hypocrisy.
No, well, hypocrisy is their criticism.
How
but
as in like hypocrisy in this way that like every single thing.
yes, it is a hypocrisy.
It
yes.
is hypocrisy,
When we watch the video of Zizek, we'll talk about it. Yes, it is
okay.
then. But even though Zizek is not something, is somebody who is branded as postmodernist, he calls himself a modern communist.
Aye.
But
So we have two videos. We have to react to. Trump.
we start with Wash.
We start with Wash. Alright.
Wash. So something like that on Trump's horizon, like hypocritical value
I'll have to get another headphone.
is something which is the appeal of Trump now.
I'll
The false appeal.
I'll have to get a headphone, or we could just turn the audio to the TV, but that will affect the mic. But I'll just turn off when we'll have to speak, then I'll turn on the mic, right? Like I can turn it off, and then when we pause the video, then we can
My man, Vicky D, coming out here with the hot take that literally everyone knew he was going to come out with. Hit it.
President of the United States.
So to reiterate what I've said recently, that I still believe completely, fully, 100%, but to reiterate, to make sure everyone knows, Donald Trump is actually communism's only hope in America right now. The reason...
Yes, it's a usually people say that.
The Donald Trump is a communist.
No.
Like what is?
They actually mean, are we recording?
Yeah, we are.
The theory behind it that he is gonna destroy the so-called Western capitalism and the height of that capitalism, the U.S.
Yeah.
is gonna destroy it so that communists can have an opportunity to do their thing.
Okay. So.
for that is because the Republicans are getting an opportunity to consolidate a lot of anti-democratic procedural nonsense that they've been working towards for a while. And DeSantis is the one the Republicans want to be their frontrunner. DeSantis is more ideologically committed to fascism. He's more easy to control. He's more predictable, and he's less of a narcissist. Trump
Well, all of the legacy media, they are now trying to prompt and in a way, in a sinister way, to ditch Trump. They are to make Republicans ditch Trump. They are trying to put DeSantis as DeSantis is almost as detestable as Trump, as nasty as Trump, but still it's better that you have DeSantis, and we don't say that he's better. In order to say that he's better, we say that he's worse than Trump, but that's actually, in a shit-eating, philosophizing manner, it means that eating non-shit is eating shit. So they are actually trying to recommend DeSantis as anything non-Trump. If anything is non-Trump, even that is Ron DeSantis. They're trying to make Republicans, but they're at the same time they're trying to make Republicans feel that the Democrats or the legacy establishment they feel worse about it. So don't worry, DeSantis is not an establishment man. He is.
Yeah.
Do you see the sinister plot behind it?
I kinda
That's
get
the
it.
thing. So this guy even
Yeah.
in condemning and castigating Ron DeSantis is actually trying to recommend DeSantis as an alternative to Republicans in order to have anything non-Trump.
Yeah, so his basic point is that DeSantis is like really bad.
He's really, really bad,
Really
in
bad.
a way that they want
Yeah.
to recommend him.
Yeah. Alright. So,
Yes, do you get the paradox?
yeah. So like he's trying to say that Trump is is more
Trump
of a
is
better
well-
version.
Yes, he's more Trumpian. That's Zizek's words.
Yeah.
He says in that stupid book and most famous book of his, the Sublime Object of Ideology, that Hegel's position, Hegel's Spinozan stupid position, that Hegel is more Kantian than Kant.
Alright.
So they're trying to say that Trump is more,
Trump is so dumb.
DeSantis is more Trumpian than Trump.
But like, don't you think like Trump is kind of fucking milder now?
Well, that was the thing I was talking about. Trump seems like a false value now. He seems like a morality which is just subscribed inside a hypocrisy.
Yeah.
He looks like a false value, but the false value
Yeah.
has its moral magic. In the world, which is morally trying to kill itself because it's empirically so successful,
Alright.
in such a world, hypocrisy, the false value,
Yeah.
is, a solution to the paradox.
Good.
So Trump is, if he looks
But-
like a loser now,
But here's the thing. Like in order for him to win and stuff, right? Like his focus, like in the beginning, like he made some fucking wild ass statements and shit, right? And then there were like some people who were like silently thinking those things but not saying it out loud, right? They voted for him, okay? But now, like I think he's trying to more appeal to the center and stuff, okay, those undecided voters, because like the people on the right, and on the left, right, it's the center people that matter, right?
look, there is another calculation that people have to make
Yeah.
in the US, which is that in order to not have Trump more than 4 years,
Yeah.
they are now about to have Trump for 12 years. He's constantly overshadowing Biden for these 4 years.
Yeah.
And suppose he wins, I mean, what's going to happen then?
Then there will be 12 years of Trump. Oh my god. And that's
Is,
like,
I think, a fascist purely by coincidence. I don't think he's ideologically fascist. I just think he's just sort of an idiot who's very self-absorbed, and that's what directs him towards, aligning with the Republican Party. He also has a huge ego, so I think that Trump has a very real chance at tearing apart the Republican Party by refusing to concede to DeSantis, who their institutions will back. I think that in 2016, the Republicans were looking for anyone to lead them after Obama enjoyed some pretty popular terms as president. Now they know who they want to lead them, DeSantis, but Donald Trump still holds the hearts and minds of a lot of Republican voters.
Man, what the fuck is this person, man? What is
He's
this?
great.
What is
He's
that?
gonna bury the sodomist Babel. But well,
What is that?
let's see it.
What is he actually saying?
Woo! Look at all these phones.
Some people say, how do you speak before so many people all the time? When there's love in the room, it's really easy. If you want to know.
That's how I feel with you guys.
You ought to try it sometime. Together we will be taking on the most corrupt forces and entrenched interests imaginable. Our country is in a horrible state. We're in grave trouble. This is not a task for a politician or a conventional candidate. This is a task for a great movement that embodies the courage, confidence, and the spirit of the American people. This is a movement. This is not for any one individual.
See, right off the bat, he's making a dig at DeSantis here.
But
So far, DeSantis has abstained from firing back at Trump, but given the fact that Trump is...
pause. See, Trump himself is claiming that he has transcended himself. He has turned into... It's not a task of some regular political candidate. It's a task of something that's more than just political. It's a movement. Yes, it's a cultural movement.
Isn't that like a?
It's like
Isn't
he's
it a good
proclaiming,
thing?
trying to proclaim a new morality.
Isn't it a good thing? Like that now that Trump is like turning, right? Like in his heart and shit, he might still be, thinking that way. But I think just for the just to appeal to more people, I think he's kind of fucking being less Trumpy.
No, this statement, what he just said,
Yeah.
is a very radical statement. He's not actually making a political point here. He's making an all or none kind of total proclamation. That most of the people politically engaged, they take politics as something of just a political thing, electoral thing,
Yeah.
and people, who served this state better, or which candidate was more effectively representative
Yeah.
of the people. But this thing, it's getting more than just the ordinary political.
So what do
It's
you
getting
think,
ideological.
What do you think is the best way? Like if you were at Trump's place, right? How would you run your candidacy?
Now Trump,
Because all I
Trump-
hear from Trump is
Trump
nowadays, it's like sounding
Trump
like a
created a
one-way.
legacy. Trump created a legacy. Trump created a value which looked like value that he carried. Now that value is carrying him. Now that value has taken an autonomous meaning. Now that value has a false meaning. False means an autonomous meaning of its own. Now that value is carrying Trump. Not that Trump is carrying that value.
Now Trump is not the value is like,
carrying
and
Trump.
people are looking for that value.
Yeah, but the thing is, normally, politically and in some electorally developed culture like generally in the West and in the US,
Yeah.
normally people just don't want to, the people who take such things seriously as a value which has attained some autonomous meaning, whatever that meaning may be.
Yeah.
Most people in electoral politics just don't subscribe to that.
Yeah.
So the winning of Trump now, it seems like, given the culture of electoral politics in the US, is going to be unlikely unless that culture itself shifts. Because of what happened in 2020, what happened during the COVID, and then these elections, and now Trump is declared, and now they're trying to plant DeSantis as an alternative by not suggesting him as an alternative, by actually trying to portray him as worse than Trump.
Is the thing is, like, Trump is being motivated by shit like this.
Yes, Steve, I get it.
Fox News, DeSantis, new leader. There are, like, the Republican institution is fully backing DeSantis, which is why you're going to see so many conservative commentators and pundits try to go like, I'm suddenly very concerned with how irrational and selfish Donald Trump is. Actually, I've always had an issue with how unpresidential he's been. So anyway, that's why I'm switching to DeSantis. You know, you're going to see them pulling people over. You know, the extent to which this actually works, though, some people really like Trump.
USA! 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 This is very disrespectful in the Arab states.
Ron has got 2 fingers.
He's out.
He has plenty of time to get
Trump or death.
Let him stay in Florida for a while.
What the fuck?
Remember when the taxi came down? He said, my father used to say, he used to say, son, I brought you into this world, I can take you out.
Everything
We're taking him out.
everything he's got out of the Trump.
Well, that's probably
I think
true
Trump
for
people are way
all-
more
all-
crazier, man. Like,
They are crazier, but the thing is, they
They're
are
like-
not electorally as effective. They're
These-
not going to be electorally as effective because with however much force they cast their vote, it's still going to count one.
Count one.
It's Trump or death.
So anyway, there are some people who are very pro-Trump, which is bad for the Republican Party. There's a very real chance of DeSantis beating out Trump in the primaries and Trump voters being disillusioned and not voting at all. There's a real chance of Trump breaking away, making a third party. It sounds insane, but he might actually do it. I mean, we'll see. We will see. It might not end up mattering at all because we might be in a post Harper v. Moore situation where votes don't matter anymore and democracy is already over. But you know,
This is a job
Yeah? You're gonna say something?
for tens of millions of proud people working together from all across the land and from all walks of life, young and old, black and white,
I know
Hispanic
them.
and Asian.
They're like,
We're
Trump.
what about Native American?
together for the very, very first
Man, the
time.
first one was very, very charged. Like the Trump's first time when he declared, like how Mexicans are fucking, you know, like it was a different time.
Yes,
Very
it was-
different
it's
time.
kind of, it looks like a different time.
Yeah.
If you look at the numbers, if you look at what's happened with Hispanic, with African American,
Oh, no,
with Asian, and just look at what's happening.
Does fascism always naturally turn on itself? Yes, every time. Always. Inevitably. It can take time, but it will.
This is a party that has become much bigger, much stronger, much more powerful, can do much more good for our country.
God, look at this
This is a job for grandmothers and construction workers, firefighters, builders, teachers, doctors, and farmers who cannot stay quiet any longer. You can't stay quiet any longer. You're angry about what's happening to our country. Our country is being destroyed before your very eyes. It's a job for every aspiring young person and every hard-working parent,
चाय बना लो.
for every entrepreneur
नहीं,
and
कुछ खाना मैंने खाया.
underappreciated police officer who is ready
चल.
to shout for safety.
Listen, he is so damn. Man, Steve, what? No.
In America, the police are being treated so badly. These are great people. They can straighten out the crime. They're the ones that know how to do it. We have to give them back their respect and their dignity.
Not very high energy. That really doesn't have that zing, you know?
He is,
I feel
well,
like,
yes.
I feel like
He's
part of it's
right
he's
there.
older, of course.
Yeah,
He's
not
right here. The energy, yes, it's not that. No, but that's the thing. The energy just before the 2020 elections was the reason that Trump had to be curtailed from like every side.
Yeah. So now he's being more cautious.
Now the thing is his lack of energy
Yeah.
and the impression that he will have to, he is in a despair over likely failure,
Yeah.
is going to make him actually, well, what's that phrase you call that? The dark horse? The dark horse.
Oh. Yeah, so, that's mainly my point was the same, that I mean him toning down, right? I think it's kind of good for him.
Yes, and
Yeah.
that's why he's trying to, well, he is actually more serious, and he should be at this time.
Yeah.
Because it's not
It's
that kind
2022,
of real,
man.
it's that what's the reality TV kind of politics.
Yeah, it's not that
It's
anymore.
not reality TV politics now.
Yeah.
It's real.
Yeah.
And it's obvious from his face, from
Yeah.
his voice, from his demeanor
Man,
now.
look at him. He looks like he's about to cry.
No, he looks like
I think
he's
part of it
about
is
to,
also the
well,
fact-
resolve something.
But I think that Donald Trump is deflated a little bit with the knowledge that he's no longer the only main character of the Republican Party. Because keep in mind,
But-
since
and
late
that's gonna favor him.
2015, up until basically a couple of months ago, Donald Trump was the uncontested leader of the Republican Party. And now
See it
all of
too,
a sudden, you know, there's another lad out there. I feel like it's kind of like being the older child, you know, like the new baby is born. You feel kind of left out because your parents are spending less time with you because they gotta tend to the baby. You know, that's how he feels.
What the fuck?
This will not be my campaign. This will be our campaign all together.
Communism! Let's go! Our country, right? Our country, not.
Because the only force strong enough to defeat the massive corruption we are up against is you, the American people.
Right.
The American people, the greatest people on earth, we love them all. And we love both sides. We're going to bring people together. We're going to unify people. And it was happening in the previous administration, previous to the previous. And what was bringing them together was success. Prior to COVID coming in, the people were calling me, that were calling me. You wouldn't believe it. People that were so far left, I figured they'd never speak to me and I would never speak to them. But our success was so incredible. Like,
Everything is just. Why is it incredible? Why is everything like.
Yes, he has those adjectives, the favorite
Never
adjectives.
before. And then COVID started coming in from China. We call it the China virus. Some people call it other things. But it was devastating, and we built it back and did an incredible job. But when people say,
Okay, the really tough thing is that DeSantis isn't funny. Trump is still funny, right? Joe Biden is funny. Joe
But not on purpose. Joe Biden is not
Biden ended
funny
up
on
being
purpose.
funny. He's a funny dude, right? I didn't think he would be, but he kind of is.
I mean,
DeSantis
of
is-
course, when you imply the China virus theory, what can you call? You have to still look cool somehow. And what else can you do? The only thing you can do is perhaps call him funny. But the China theory, well, as funny as it is, it's not untrue.
Yeah.
I mean, the inconsistencies, Senator, what's his name? That libertarian guy. Ron Paul.
Ron Paul.
Rand Paul. The Senator Rand Paul. The things he's been implying on Fauci, those implications are, well, not quite unfounded.
Are people still fucking talking about this? Like, or
It's a great lesson. I mean, what happened?
Back then, I mean, I didn't think anybody had any idea what the fuck they were doing. Like,
But that was the thing. How would you?
prepared.
How would you? But I mean, what about the origins of the virus? What about the origins of COVID? And that's why it has to be funny by Wash in order to to ridicule the implication of the origin of virus, which is actually not that quite unfounded.
Yeah, I think his position is very against the thing as well.
Which
Wash's position
about the
about
origin
the vaccines and
about the origin of COVID. And the China virus. And so
is they're not like the, what do you call it, when you say liberals and stuff, right? The picture that comes to your mind is mostly the cuckoo heads, like the fucking green-haired woman or something like that, right? These people are not like that, right? Even like the big three that I was talking to you about, Hassan, Wash, and Destiny. Like, Destiny is a capitalist, right? But like, he has socially, he's like a liberal.
Yes, he's that social kind of
Not funny.
libertarian progressive.
There's nothing comedic about DeSantis. He's boring. The banality of evil. There's nothing. It's so.
Republicans or Democrats or liberals or conservatives, I say we can all get together. And we were doing that. That was happening.
Destiny even got banned from Twitter for like, it was like him, like he made some transphobic type remarks or something.
Right, because
I don't really remember the thing. Yeah, I should.
Higher than this country has ever had. We were leapfrogging China and leapfrogging everybody else, and everybody wanted a piece of it.
Now, so this is us philosophizing the thing, right? It's not. So this is basically.
No, it's not necessarily philosophizing the thing.
Yeah.
We're actually.
But like, it's not like we're going political and stuff. It's more of like, you know,
theory.
Yeah, talk theory and stuff. Yeah.
You guys seen this? I thought it was quite funny.
Anybody here would do it.
Project to get
Judges are a priority.
And honestly, we have businesses that have been
What the
shut down.
What? He's talking. He's even got the mannerisms of Trump, man.
Things to say, no COVID vaccine passports made in China, shipped here. Why would we want so many important things?
He's like a carbon copy, man. What the fuck? He's like a carbon copy.
Must be at the whim of China.
Anybody here?
Some of this is kind of bunk, but I do think that in some specific ways, DeSantis has made an effort to mimic. Especially this, man. This is a very specific, the like one hand out open and then the one hand up with the like the thumb and forefinger together with the like he's making an effort to capture those votes by trying to do the same affectation. The difference is that Donald Trump is doing this sincerely. Donald Trump is just like that. This is just how he talks, you know. DeSantis is like in a cowardly, sort of like weak way trying to imitate it. You can tell the difference in the way they act too. That he's doing this like practiced, performative imitation. Donald Trump is just like that.
Everybody here would do it.
Project to get
Judges are a priority.
And honestly, we have businesses that have been locked down and lives destroyed for over a year, makes us say.
You see what I mean, right? There's like a difference in how they carry it. DeSantis is not funny. Forget the fascism. That's the real problem with him winning.
But just as I promised in 2016, I am your voice. I am your voice. The Washington Establishment.
Low energy on the cheers, too. You want to know why? Because I bet a lot of people in that audience are members of the GOP who know that it would be politically disadvantageous for them to throw themselves entirely behind Trump. I bet you a lot of people in the audience are like, okay, you know, we're here for Trump's thing, but they know where things are tipping. Apparently, Trump's family isn't even backing him. Was it Ivanka and who was the other one who are not participating in this campaign? Ivanka said that she should not participate this time. But Eric was the other one? It was Jared. Okay, Jared was the other one. Okay, yeah, they're just not, yeah. Yeah, and apparently Trump's security people kept people from leaving during the speech.
Leave.
POV are stuck at Trump's 2024 announcement.
I think perhaps a little concerned that the hall would empty out too much. They actually started preventing people from leaving, so now they're no longer allowing people to leave. And people leaving early even before he was done. He's still speaking now.
People don't need either, but we love our country, and we have to take care of our country. We have to save our
Imagine being the guy who like does a little cough and gets caught like that.
country. Every policy must be geared toward.
No, it smells crazy in there.
In 300 years, imaginable. Our country is a job to exactly 1%. Nice easy life. It's gravely. I said, no, I'm not the king. I said, yes, you are the king. Many, many, many times over.
Oh my God, it's just a meme.
What we have built together over the past 6 years is the greatest movement in history because it is not about politics. It's about our love for this great country.
Love you more, Steve.
And we're not going to let it fail. I am running because I believe the world has not yet seen the true glory of what this nation can be. We have not reached that pinnacle, believe it or not. In fact, we can go very far. We're going to have to go far. First, we have to get out of this ditch. And once we're out, you'll see things that nobody imagined for any country. It's called the United States of America. And
Why are you watching Wash? Dude, we are, I don't know. We wanted like a third person here, right? To see Trump's announcement.
Incredible place.
This is so fucking weak, dude. Holy shit. Okay,
Only I
that's
can
the end
watch
of this
Wash.
video. This whole thing goes on for a while, but you can kind of feel like this is very tired, you know? It's very low energy. Donald Trump is old. His party no longer fully backs and supports him. He doesn't. I don't think Donald Trump has a chance in hell against DeSantis with the consent manufacturing machines of the GOP working full time come the primaries. However, I do think there are going to be Trump loyalists that'll stick around like the whole way through. You know what I mean? It's hard to say. We'll see how it goes. We'll see. But I do bet you the reason why the crowd was so quiet was because a lot of them were political operatives who did not want to cast themselves out from the light of DeSantis' good graces by being too enthusiastic about Donald Trump. It's pretty wild that that's the position the GOP is in right now. Then again, we should really make fun, considering the fact that it looks like the 2024 Democratic candidate is going to be like Biden. I don't know if Biden will run. It's like who, like what? No one's cutting up a stir, right? Like Kamala Harris hasn't really
Probably Hillary.
kicked at it. People.
Probably Hillary again.
He will. Yeah, but like, isn't he close to dying?
She.
No, I'm talking about Biden. Oh, you're saying Kamala will run?
No, I'm saying Hillary Clinton.
No way.
They will, I think, try to. She looks.
No way.
I mean, that's my guess
sad.
so far, and
That will be
we
sad.
have it recorded, so we'll check that out.
Hillary ran again. If Hillary ran again, I would paint the wall behind me with a shotgun. Yo, what if Hillary?
Because
What about
first,
Bernie?
Look,
Will Bernie run?
Jim Jordan,
Yeah.
that House Republican, has started today and has declared that they're going to start the investigation on Hunter Biden. The whole House, the House is in Republican control now.
Yeah.
The whole House is going to be a machine in the hand of, I think some
Yo,
headline of Newsweek
Can we
or
talk
something.
about how Hunter Biden's
Yes.
thing was like so niche? It wasn't in the mainstream media and stuff.
It was so important.
Yeah,
it could have really hurt the Biden campaign.
This is the end of this video, right? In the next one we're gonna discuss about like why was it so censored and why not a lot of people know much about it, right? Yeah. Okay, now we record the next video. So now in this video we'll talk about
we're not talking about Hunter Biden.
No?
But the comment is that it would have really seriously hurt the Biden campaign, and that's why the story was deliberately suppressed, even though it became just obvious and clear by every passing day that the story was right. And the word big guy used was about Biden, and Biden was implicated, and he could have been incriminated in those investigations if the thing would, as Trump was suggesting and trying to devise. This just shows the grip of the deep state in the US. One thing Trump has done, it has shown that the thing they are calling democracy, which they say is going to be destroyed by the so-called, I mean, what a loose word, fascists, is actually not quite democracy. That obviously America is a republic, it's a state, and every state has a deep state. And it was just in a full view against Trump. The thing was just in a whole naked view. And
I wanna go back to Zizek
yes, let's go to Zizek.
and talk Teddy.
What a bullshit he is.
Wilson, send me food. Wait, what the fuck, Steve? Why are you so... Yeah. So, oh my god, Zizek, let's go. Hey, is Zizek kinda like really... Is he still like really popular and shit amongst the...
Well, I mean, forcefully. He's the pet whose name is. He's a pet of the globalists.
Wait, is Zizek an actual Marxist? Like I've in some videos
He's
it feels like he's not.
He's a globalist Marxist.
And
They say, well, Marxism is always internationalist. But the thing is, Zizek is quite the mouthpiece piece through which the new commies are sitting in the lap of globalism. That the so-called resistance has actually become a TV commercial morality. What kind of a resistance is that which has become a TV commercial morality? Like women empowerment, this transgenderist, intersectional feminism, and the control of almost the formal control of the social media space.
Hello and welcome to Unheard Ideas. I'm Florence Reed.
And then I mean the strange thing about Zizek, he's not formally called a post-Marxist, post-modernist, but because I call postmodernists as self-ashamed Marxists who are actually post-Marxists, who thought they couldn't overthrow the property. The old commies couldn't overthrow the private property. Now trying to overthrow the family through destroying gender.
Do you think?
Do you understand? And Zizek is, well, he says that he's a new Marxist or Marxist of the globalist kind, with the Marxism with free markets.
Do you think these people, like the so-called like liberals, people, the fucking
the woke
ones, right? Do you think they've actually read Marx even?
No, mostly
they
don't.
actually. They actually know who Derrida is, or like, you know.
No, they haven't. Mostly they.
I don't think they have any idea.
They're really illiterate.
Yeah.
Many of them. They think it's just something cool, and they should.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you read Deleuze's book, suppose I've read Deleuze's Difference and Repetition. Derrida's Grammatology, Writing in Difference, and this guy Zizek's book, his most famous book, the Sublime Object of Ideology. It was such a stupid book.
Libs aren't Marxists. They still believe in capitalism.
Well, we're talking in the libs in the sense of
the far left.
The U.S. sense. The U.S. sense.
Yeah, the far left.
Because the definition of liberalism changes across the Atlantic. If you talk about liberals in Europe or in the UK, then the liberals are, well, the true liberals, or you can say they are classical liberals. But when you talk about liberals, the so-called, the word liberal in the US, across the Atlantic, it is constructed like woke and at the same time Marxist.
Don't you think that's just internet lingo?
Yes, that's a lingo, but
that's
now
lingo.
entered something that's like
yeah.
So no. The thing is, what I was gonna say about Zizek, that he is a woke sounding new Marxist, whose theory is that the new Marxism, the kind, is that we should not destroy the private property. Private property should stay.
That is where it ends. Like this is not Marxism anymore.
But that's the way it is now. So
how can you call this Marxism?
It's globalism. They are selling globalism through these Marxists. What is global? They have to have a global state with less and less sovereign powers of states, with private property allowed, but with healthcare in a global control, almost global control, and then with education that's so-called free and paid by the taxpayers. And it's such kind of thing, because they know that destroying private property creates the unproductivity, the lack of productivity which destroyed the Soviet Union. So they want to have the productivity of the private free markets, private property in free markets, but then they want to have a political structure that under global, and the greatest premise for that global state is climatism. So this idiot, everything he when you read his book and he says that Hegel is more Kantian than Kant, and then he says that he denies phenomenon just the same way as post-commies denies and postmodernists deny phenomenon. So when he denies phenomenon, he becomes postmodernist in that. And then suddenly something like Putin committing a violence or invasion is something epistemologically so clear that it's only condemnable. Even though Putin was standing for a month taking his army at the border of Ukraine to make Ukraine desist from becoming a part of the NATO or the Western strategic establishment. And suddenly, climatism, every science is wrong, but climatist science is somehow right. Just from the outset.
Climate is not the.
No, I'm saying that to Zizek.
Yeah.
How is Putin so suddenly bad?
Yeah.
And so definitively that you can pass a moral judgment, otherwise the morality is not possible. And then
if you're like a postmodern like person and stuff, then how can you pass judgment on Putin as well?
yes, I mean, it's a debate about Jürgen Habermas and Foucault through Judith Butler. Remember this, write it down, we'll talk about it.
Personally, I don't think the human race will survive without at least having an international cooperation of ecology for climate change.
That's what Zizek is saying. And that's what I am criticizing him for.
Really?
Yes.
What would be so bad about that?
Well, bad about that is, I mean, look, it's yet just a specimen of how these post-commies are such a convenient tool of globalism. Because whatever the argument itself autonomously lies inside the argument of climate.
Post-commies, wow, that's like
Post-commies, yes.
That's like
Postmodernists are post-commies.
You can call
they are the commies who are ashamed of themselves.
You can call these post-Marxists.
Yes.
Yeah. Alright, you were saying?
So the thing is, there can be an autonomous argument inside the climatist debate. But the thing is, given the globalist excuse of globalist politics that's being wielded in the name of climatism, in that, I mean, given that this post-Marxist, this post-commie Zizek is, I mean, directly a tool of globalism, not of the inherent scientific argument of climatism.
I don't even fucking get his deal, because like in a video I would see, right, in which he's talking about something like,
well, that's their style.
Completely
What
different.
I was saying, yes, that's their style.
no,
they try to intimidate.
You don't really know what their position is.
Yes, that's
It's like
the way.
the opposing positions in two videos.
Yeah, they always do that methodically in their books too, to kind of not say anything in order to not get caught in the act, in order to not reveal their stupid commiehood.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they are still all the dumb prisoners of labor theory of value.
True. So okay. So one thing I think Aaron is pointing out here, I wouldn't be against post-Marxist label, since I think Karl Marx theory isn't applicable in the modern world. He wrote that during industrialization.
Yeah. It's kind of, well, even the Marxists now themselves don't translate the term in the sense of the Soviet history. They try to situate it in this historical present. What they use the word they use the word historical present. They use it in this historical present. But there is a great lesson. They never deny the productivity of private property and free markets. It's just they want to earn well, that's why they want to.
Right.
On Rawls, we'll talk about Rawls. Did what do you think about Rawls? Well, Rawls is like the true liberal position. Rawls is the true liberal position. Let me. People. By the way, confuse Rawls. You know what Rawls's argument actually is, and that will actually clear the impression that I want to insinuate too. But let's see what the argument is at the bottom. What Rawls says is there are two imperatives that any moral theory or a theory of justice, let's say, and a theory of justice should consider. And it's strange that the theory of justice always turns out to be some kind of a utilitarian economic ethic. That the justice thing, the justice word, is all turns out to be an economic argument. And when you're talking about economic argument, the mechanism of economic workings of economies precede any kind of policy. Otherwise, you end up being a stupid Dumbo commie. Rawls was quite aware of that. Rawls was quite, he was aware because he had read Arrow, that great economist, Arrow's impossibility theorem. The impossibility theorem is that what is the impossibility theorem? He says that a set of political preferences of a political agent, like a voter, A, then set of political preferences of voter B, then set of political preferences of voter C. If you, when those preferences, they are ordered individually, but when electorally they are considered all the outcomes of all the voters are considered in the aggregate, no set of preferences, order of preferences stays consistent in the result. I mean, well, that's what all I'm gonna say on Arrow. Let's move to
all right.
Let's move to Rawls. We're talking about Rawls. Who asked? I think Big Steve.
Big Steve just wants
to call you. Who asked about Rawls? Who was it?
It was AB.
Thank you. Okay. Now ABB. There are two imperatives that the theory of justice, which is, well, again, a political economic theory. First, we have to consider civil liberties. They are most important.
By the way, I don't know who this person is. Right,
Rawls, the biggest theorist of the theory of justice.
Right,
he was a Harvard dude. Famous. Very famous. Well, too famous. And first is civil liberties. The right to property, the right to life, the right to, well, civil freedoms. Then the second imperative is the question of fairness. And what is fairness? Well, it's the same materialist, so-called, it's so materialist. No, it's again the same effing materialist argument. which is fairness. Now, what is fairness? Fairness is the same old, good old, bad old motto of commies, the morality of envy. Okay, he says these two imperatives. One is the first imperative, civil liberties, which is liberty. Second imperative, fairness, which is equality. Mm-hmm. He says that both of these are at odds.
Okay.
Are mutually in a conflict. If you have liberty, you have inequality. If you have equality, you are going to curtail liberties. He says, Rawls says that first, we should ensure civil liberties.
Okay.
And then, when civil liberties have been ensured and the society has been successfully materialized to a point that there is no tangible threat to civil liberties, then we should move to fairness, which is equality, by...
Yo, boys, say hello to Mr. Mom.
Hello. Hi.
Thank you.
This is mine. This has sugar.
Oh.
Alright, okay. I'll
Now, what is the argument for fairness? That is, if making the worst in society less worse makes the non-worse in society a little worse, then do it.
Alright.
If the most downtrodden, if the most downtrodden can be made better off, by making the most well off or the well off, a little worse, then you should go for it. After, given the condition that it doesn't violate the first condition of liberty.
But how
this is kind of an equilibrium conception of societal balance. So it is a kind of utilitarianism, but there is a technical hypothesis of utilitarianism on
thank you.
On general equilibrium by Harsany.
Thank you so much, Hunter, for gifting 5 million memberships. Damn! Welcome to the family, everybody that got the cool green sign. You are, I don't know. You are epic titty. There are 5 gifted, so there will be 5 alerts. Thank you so much, Hunter. I love you, man. Hunter, we're like talking fucking theory, right?
We're talking theory.
Yeah, thought theory, right? Man, Hunter, thank you so much.
So what are we talking about? Talking before Rawls.
Yeah. Right, okay, this is gonna keep happening if we...
Then, given this...
I'm sorry. Alright, okay, I think it's over now. I just came in at a weird time. No. It's very good, right? This is fucking entertainment. I think we should have the 777 spams, right? While we're talking and shit.
So I think this beautiful girl is looking at us.
Alright, okay. This beautiful girl, right? She is. Right, okay.
Change times, there's no
Now she's
riot.
speaking, I don't like her anymore. Alright.
But who can help us see through the mists? Well, we think we found someone. He is a Lacanian psychoanalyst, philosopher, and author of a new book, Surplus Enjoyment, a Guide for the Non-Perplexed. His name is Slavoj Žižek, and he joins us live from his home in Ljubljana, Slovenia. Hi, Slavoj.
Thanks very much. It's
Thank you,
an
man. Is
honor for me to be here.
does he have like a disease, or is it like, I mean, I think we shouldn't be making fun of this, right? We shouldn't be, yeah, right.
Ironic. Forget about unhurt. I like to be a part.
Pause. By the way, he's a Lacanian. They always think it's somehow a new argument. The only moral argument, so-called, these post-commies could ever devise was, was what? There is a book, Lacan's book, Lacan and Kant.
Alright.
No, somebody like Lacan is very sexual and sexualizes everything, and he thinks that the object of life is to achieve jouissance. Jouissance. What is jouissance? Jouissance is a pleasure, is a release, is a bodily pleasure. You can say it's like.
It's like coming.
Yes, it's a release. It's coming. And,
Yes.
And
Yes, right.
So,
Why?
so he's what's that word? Voluptuous,
Oh.
sexual kind of demoralizing of the world. That's Lacanian philosophy. And in that book, Kant and Lacan, what Lacan does is he takes that guy, what was his name? I think there is that sexual philosopher Bataille, and then
What the
before
fuck is
that,
a sexual philosopher?
yes,
Like,
that's you
like-
can say
like-
that's a philosophy of voluptuosity.
voluptuous. The only voluptuous things I see are breasts. Like,
and before that there is this guy. No, it's not. The book's name is not Lacan and Kant. It's Kant and that guy.
it's some epic titties shit, man.
His name is. Oh shit! I forgot his name. But he was. What? No, his name is. Let's find his name.
Are you actually gonna, like, I have Google here. I can. Alright, we're gonna wait for it. But by the way, why are you wearing this, Mr. Escobar, at 3 a.m.?
It's cold here.
See that? Fucking direct, right? Cold and calculated. The most direct man in the world, right? He'll tell you facts, right? And facts don't care about your feelings, right? It's cold, so he's wearing a jacket, man. What the fuck, dude? Like,
Sade, Marcus de Sade. Sade is the guy. But
dude,
I
I
have the book
don't
in-
know. I have become.
Marcus de Sade.
Yeah.
He was a sexual philosopher.
Oh, sexual.
Let's say philosopher or writer, whatever you want to call him. Mainly, I think it was fiction, novels.
Sexual philosopher, as in like they sexualize shit.
Fictionalize and idealize voluptuosity.
Okay, they idolize. Right, I think I am.
The thing I was gonna say was that
Hello,
all of
innocence.
these commies, the only moral and stupidly moral argument they ever have,
Dude,
like they
alright,
all represent
okay,
some kind
one
of a
thing,
new
one thing,
argument,
one thing.
which never it is.
One thing, if you're dishing it out, right, you're calling them corny bastards and stuff, right, you're gonna have to take it as well. Right, if it's someone in chat goes like, you know, you fucking Paki.
No, you don't do that because we're just talking theory.
Yeah, we're just talking theory, right? Yeah.
And the argument is this. Because you have something amoral.
Yeah.
No. Because you have something immoral.
Right.
That's why you have something moral. And morality, if the immoral releases the jouissance.
Oh my fucking god, I lost you at that. What the fuck?
Then-
Immoral releases the jouissance, the fucking sexual pleasure, right?
Yes, then the moral
Yeah.
is the suppression of the same. So the moral is the Kantian, even though I don't subscribe to Kantian morality. I'm a fan of Kantian epistemology. But there will be a time we formally attack Kant on
Yes.
morality. And
we
Kantian
actually
morality is
tell you
this,
guys what we're
actually
talking
this
about.
stupid social justice kind of humanistic commie morality
what
is the morality of Kant in its root.
Wait, wasn't Kant like the whole? Oh no, wasn't he the time guy?
Yeah, who was the time guy? Who's the time guy?
Kant was the time guy, right?
The time guy.
Yeah, but
He
like
was the time guy who was the most boring guy the world has ever produced.
yeah, but like
The most boring, interesting guy I have always loved.
His doesn't his philosophy should be like fucking conservatives because conservatives are like fucking boring as fuck.
The thing is, he tried to turn morality into an epistemology, at which he did it bad. Will attack his moral philosophy from the premises of his epistemology.
Can you explain the time story, the Kant's time story story?
Time
Manual.
when people did the analogy that someone is so punctual that people correct their clocks by watching him, by following his schedule, was after Kant, because he would always take walks at the same time, at the same track, at the same city which he never left in his life. He never left his city.
He never left his city like for
Königsberg. He never left it. The 30 kilometers diameter. He never left the diameter of 30
Like-
kilometers his whole life.
his whole life.
Yes, and he lived a long life.
Yeah.
And he didn't. Well, they say that he didn't change his coat, his overcoat, for like 30 years.
Man, he looks like a badass, man.
And he didn't marry. He used to say that he was poor,
Yeah.
but actually, the thing was he was not. The problem was not that he was poor or something. He used to say he was poor, he can't afford a
So,
family.
one
But the
of-
thing was he was boring enough to give any disturbance to his boring schedule.
Yeah, so Kant, one of the most famous philosophers, right, never left the 30-meter radius in his entire life. Like entire life, even when he was like a child or something, or like grown up.
But
like,
you know, little sweet girls who always say that you know what their philosophy is, what
Yeah.
Judith Butler's philosophy is,
Yeah.
that everything is subjective. Such girls talk such things, so remove it.
Right. Okay. But it's kind of cool, man. It's like
Of your gang, of your herd here.
We're in the danger zone of becoming tribal before we've even started. So let's start with surplus enjoyment. Your book outlines the problems with surplus enjoyment. What are they?
The important thing, and Jacques Lacan, when he developed the notion of surplus enjoyment, he really developed it only in the last 15 years of his life, but it's interesting, with strict reference to Marx's notion of Mehrwert, surplus value. Because Marx saw clearly, we should also criticize Marx and so
Surplus
on,
value is
but
profit.
he saw clearly that the
what? I didn't
Marx,
get the point.
the thing Marx calls surplus value
Yeah.
is actually profit. Now, the markets define profit as the essential value. Because if there is no profit, there is going to be no production. But Marx was a linear idiot. He thought people produce things
Yeah.
and then they sell them and pay the labor for it. There should be no. How can there be surplus? That the surplus, which is profit, is actually the exploitation of labor. But the thing is, why would an investor risk his investment and his entrepreneurial skill and, well, mainly because once you invest something, you cannot de-invest it. The only way is that it performs, that it earns profit. That's how wealth is created and that's how wealth is distributed. Last time we said we're going to explain how wealth distribution and creation are one thing and how the growth and development of economy are one thing. We'll explain that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the surplus utility you derive from a cigarette that I buy from you for 50 rupees
Yeah.
is going to be the impulse, going to be the incentive that actually produces that cigarette. If there is no profit, there is no production. This stupidity of denying profit as a surplus value killed Soviet Union. Is the disease that never performs, a disease that never lets a Marxist economy perform. So this idiot now is going to turn that surplus value into a surplus pleasure, he said.
Yeah. No.
By the surplus pleasure theory of Lacan.
Basic feature which makes capitalism so different is that it doesn't aim at a stable, normal state. It's always more surplus. You don't produce.
Now this thing, the stupid thing,
Yeah.
there are no stabilities. Do you understand the second law of thermodynamics?
Yes.
What is that? The
The
entropy
one-
always increases.
That wasn't the second one. I don't know. There's
Second
an
law of
entropy.
thermodynamics, which is about entropy. What is entropy? Well, it's the disturbance in the system.
Yeah.
Entropy always increases in the whole universe.
Entropy always increases in the whole universe. Yes.
And is
But you
there a
can-
cost?
Right. So here's the thing. What that entropy, right? The scientific entropy and stuff, right? What that
Has to do with it. We'll go to that.
Right. Okay. But because in like a social structure, does entropy like
Yes.
that's
Yes.
different from the scientific entropy
That's a very Kantian kind of question.
Yeah. What the fuck does that mean?
Actually, it is, yes. But we're just using an analogy.
Yeah. Right.
In order to
But pause it.
enjoy.
Yeah.
Now, that's an analogy from physics. Entropy always increases, though economic arguments are never physical arguments. But he's saying that capitalism never has the goal of a stability. But the thing is, stability is itself a dynamic framework. Stability is inside the growth because the consumption is embedded inside the stability. I mean, most of the formal models of economic development or growth are aim at the steady state, given the natural resources, or given the long run, let's say, long run growth prospects.
Right. So here we have like a thing. If profits are allocated democratically
Oh
by
my
workers I think it has more to do with incentives. Like if there's no like
Incentive for the producer
Yeah, then
who creates such an enterprise that can earn profit.
Yeah.
Look, the greatest democratic distribution, the so-called democratic distribution of profits, is the higher living standards. Now, how that happens, watch it. You produce something, you produce that thing better than others, okay? You produce that at a lower price because you have some cost efficiency
yeah,
through your entrepreneurship,
yeah,
such that the cost has become less.
yeah,
You can sell that product for a lower price than your competitors. You have wiped out all the competitors. Now you are left. Now only you are left. It's not that you are there by a monopoly.
yeah.
It's because no one else could compete with you. Why couldn't they compete with you? People buy your product because it gives them a higher living standard, which is the democratic distribution of profit. That profit didn't go to other uncompetitive producers.
Yeah.
It has gone to the increased living standard by using your product to the people.
Now here's
The democratic distribution, the greatest democratic distribution is the general increase in living standards, which rises by the day in capitalism. Actually, that's the condition, that's the intrinsic condition of performance in capitalism. In free markets, you have to perform, or you still, there is, in a macroeconomic level, at a macroeconomic level, the target is the steady state. Let's say that is stability, but that stability is dynamic. You're going to eat every day. The resources will have to be produced. Then the problem is that there can be catastrophes, there can be problems, there can be diseases. So you have some extra value.
okay. Like if you think about it, okay, I've been thinking about this, right? Again, like the Marxist theory and stuff. I don't think logically it's inconsistent. Right? Now here's why I think that, right? So logically it's like, when the world has like a lot of surplus and stuff, right? Then shit will be like different and shit, right? I mean, in theory, reaching that idealized place, right? If you logically think about it, this could be a possibility. One of the possibilities might not be like the most probable one, right?
But actually, that's the thing. All the things that Marxism thought should be there have been provided by capitalism. And Marxism itself failed at that miserably. And the thing, when you say logically,
Marxism, like we've not reached at that stage yet, right? And I don't think we will, like, so here I would say there is like, what if I would have to critique Marxist theory, right? I would go like, the surplus, right? Can there ever be a state of extreme surplus or not? Right?
well, that's a question of artificial intelligence producing zero input productivity, which means the productivity reaches 100%.
Yeah.
Which actually means machines creating machines.
Yeah.
Machines creating machines. And machines producing the raw material that machines consume. So machines become a totality of productivity.
I don't think people like actually understand. In order to reach that state of like complete surplus and shit, right? It's not going to be like this type of a world, right? It's going to be totally different, right? So when people go like, we already have like a surplus of a lot, right? I don't think we've reached that point, right?
We never reached that point. Look, the inflation is hurting Americans. Inflation is And inflation is hurting. I have a friend in Norway, the so-called the happiest countries. A friend in Norway who just started a restaurant business there. It was a dream. He used to study here in Lahore with us when we were kids. And it was like he used to cook meals for us in order to just satiate his desire to cook and be a chef and something. He used to cook very well. He started his own restaurant in Norway. He's about to shut it down because of the costs, with the electricity, with the taxes, and with general inflation. His prices are not he is not able to keep the prices competitive, and it's the fucking most hard thing in the world to start a business and make it successful. I have so far failed 4 businesses myself.
Yeah.
Which I never intended them to fail.
As far as the surplus goes, we have a food surplus 50% more than it's not that surplus that you're talking about, right? The Marx surplus, right? What I feel like, right? The Marx surplus, right? Is the surplus in which you don't have to talk about these percentages, right? Like, it's like you don't even have to go out of your way and say that there is a surplus, right? It'll be so fucking apparent, right? So fucking apparent that you don't have to justify that there is a
No,
surplus.
but that's the possibility he says after communism, and that possibility is never reached. The thing is,
no,
when you
surplus, isn't it surplus? Isn't it? That's in his theory that surplus will come from capitalism.
Well, he kind of says that surplus comes from capitalism, and it will create such resources that finally it will be able to. But the thing is, production of surplus, running a successful business, is still competitive. Is still.
Marx was a capitalist.
Difficult. and with if you say that stability demands that you don't earn profits, then that's not stability. That's the stability of a graveyard.
Whoa.
Because it's going to be Holodomor, where people started eating each other in Ukraine and Soviet Union. Because there was nothing to eat.
Yo, do you know Chinese people started eating dogs? Fuck, man. That's not right. That's don't quote me on that. I saw a video, right? It was a video by Vice, which is a very left-leaning show, right? So yes, okay.
Vice is more CNN than CNN.
Vice is more CNN than CNN.
Yes.
Oh no, man. CNN is like fucking CNN. Vice, they still have like some, good material in which it feels like it's.
They promoted sodomy in Pakistan, so I don't like
what
them.
What the fuck? Okay, alright. CNN is cringe as fuck, yeah. Mao is an anti-Semite. Cringe. Marx is a fucking capitalist, man. He wants capitalism to bring about the whole fucking surplus, right? And then there's like so much surplus that, everybody.
Consumption. Or you don't earn money, you earn money in order to earn more money, to put it like this. This type of extensive surplus, more and more, is what defines modern.
Pause. He's again wrong at that too.
Yeah.
How is wrong? He's wrong that he's saying that this is wrong, that money is earned in order to produce more money.
More money.
No. These commies don't even understand money. What is money? Money is just a certification of value.
Oh!
What means having money or producing more money is producing more value. Now, what's the meaning of producing more value? Suppose you have a business.
Yeah.
It's a successful, suppose, an outlet, a restaurant outlet. You're success. Then you turn it into a chain, which is replicated across all the country, perhaps all the world.
Yeah.
And then you multiply those profits. But the thing is, it's not a surplus money if I open a restaurant here and turn it into a chain, and somebody in El Salvador is getting a job in that restaurant and is barely hanging by his life because of that job. Now, is that creating an unnecessary value for value for value for value? No. That's like when they say 1% own the 99% or 90% of the wealth in the world.
Yeah.
That would have been a problem if they would have dug a hole and put all that wealth inside that hole and would not have recruited that wealth in the economy to produce more and cheaper goods, better goods, which raise people's living standard, give people employment.
Dude,
but that's what always happens. That's why, as per the Coase theorem, the nominal ownership over resources doesn't matter.
Even if you're like a fucking rich dude, right? Like you're fucking Elon Musk and shit. Right?
Look.
How much?
And then here comes the mechanism. The mechanism. If a value is being produced, let's say money and more money, let's say value and more value.
Yeah.
The instance itself, intrinsically, inherently, the instance of a value being produced means that value was needed.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Value is not something you're not like it's not a smoke.
Yeah.
It's coming out of a mechanism. So why Marx was logically wrong? He was logically wrong because there is, first, thinking about the surplus value production of or production with profit. Profit exploits workers. No, instead of that, you should first think, is there a possibility that there is a more efficient avenue of productivity? That there is a more efficient mechanism in the economic machine which is more productive, and which is the work of the entrepreneur to discover that through the market, which is called technology.
Yeah.
Technology in the economic sense. How do you produce something with less input?
I was
something better with less input.
Yeah.
Something more with less input. That's like, technology.
I kind of look at it.
That's to what all the profit is actually attributed.
Yeah. I was looking at it in a very different way, right? I was thinking about, if there is like a person, right? Like the 1% and shit, right? How much of the money is fucking Elon Musk, using on himself rather than creating jobs and shit, right? Like the richest person. How much of it is, him just using it on himself? Even if you're like even if you do the most outrageous shit, right?
Yes.
You
Still
can't use a fucking $1 billion like on yourself.
But even if you use a ridiculous amount like $1 billion on yourself, like you have some suit stitched of diamonds or something.
Yeah.
That you're wearing the sun itself.
Yeah.
Then still that product has been bought from the market. Which again has employed some people, has created value. The paradox of value, the thing about value is that you gotta fucking understand it. Oh my god, I've written a very complicated paper on
value?
On the nature of value, you can say that. And you have to understand if you want to read something really impressive on value, then perhaps read Theory of Value by Jared Debrew, my favorite economist.
I don't.
That's a very mathematical book, but beautiful and obviously impressive and correct.
I disagree with that. There's a predicament society collapsing in 100 years due to climate change. I disagree with that. I disagree with that. Because I feel like there is like scientific advancement on like reaching levels that are like fucking, like that are beyond our shit and stuff. Okay, and if this is like a real problem that will start to actually emerge, right? I feel like I have faith that humanity, right, will be able to create, right? I mean, we don't have to like as I said last time as well. We don't have to like plug every single fucking draining hole and stuff. Okay, that's not a good strategy. But the overall solution. Dude, we fucking figured out how to land on the fucking moon and shit, right? I'm pretty sure we can do something about it, right? Yeah.
But
yeah.
Read about environmental Kuznets curve. It's real.
Yeah, that's I was just explaining the curve here. That like at some point, right, we will have the technology to actually tackle this, right? And
actually we do have technology already. The solar system can be made when it's scaled to that global requisite level. Then you have the cleanest and abundant energy, nuclear energy.
Yeah.
But the thing is, these are the problems which are not in search of a solution. They are not in the search of a solution. They want to turn it into a globalist excuse of global polity, the global state. It has become a tool of globalists. And these people like Zizek, they've become handy puppets of it, handy pets of it.
Oh my fucking god.
Okay, let's move on.
Capitalism. But I don't think the way back is the conservative one, which is, we hear often even from so-called deep ecologists today.
When has technology ever saved? Come on, man. You're fucking talking to a Pakistani man right now. And you're asking when has technology ever saved us? I mean, like technology is pretty dope, right? I mean, it looks kind of bleak and shit, right? But yeah.
But
I mean, at every period, it was the same.
Let me tell you something fascinating. It's rare that when you have a great conceptual vocabulary, you hear something which is truly, truly impressive. And first, well, there was one about Lie groups in Lie algebra mathematics. That's technical one. Leave that out. I hate that as much as I love that, but because it's quite difficult to work with, quite difficult to explain to. In a way, it's very strangely simple too. Okay, but the thing about technology. Have you heard about the principle of stationary action?
Stationary action?
Physics.
By
that mathematician Hamilton.
I think I might have. I don't know the name and shit. But like I might have. If you talk about it, I don't understand.
It's a strange principle, but the philosophical statement behind that principle, which is employed in marginalism, which is the main economic argument of modern economics, is based on that too. And that philosophical premise is strange if you listen to the poetics of that statement, which is all the unknowns in a system can be reduced to one unknown.
Okay.
And that one unknown is connected with the known.
Wait, what? All the
Unknowns
yeah.
in a system can be reduced like
Wait, let me delete this. Go on the brushes. No, just click on the brush. Yeah. Alright, okay.
all the unknowns
Yeah.
in a system can be
Known.
reduced to one unknown.
That is not.
And- And
scientific.
that one unknown, no, it's been established as the principle of
Right.
stationary action,
Okay.
and it's in the original 1834 paper of Hamilton. It was amazing. It was actually, I got acquainted with some original author book of that great mathematical
All the
economist
unknowns
Edgeworth.
can be reduced
To one unknown,
Okay.
and that one unknown is connected with the known. Isn't that impressive?
All the unknowns can be reduced to
All
one
the unknowns
unknown.
in a system can be reduced to one unknown.
All right. So this and that one unknown is somehow related to
The known.
all the knowns about the system.
Yes.
All the knowns about the system. We see that. Where do we see that?
Principle of stationary action. Now let's Google what is principle of stationary action.
Principle of stationary action.
Hamilton.
Right. Fucking I hate this shit.
Sepal.
Of stationary. Stationary action.
Second one, yes.
Alright. Principle of stationary action.
Let's open some video for it.
Is there a
Yes,
yeah, there
this
it
one.
is. Okay. Shoosh. Right.
Suppose I have a particle P traveling along a three-dimensional path under the influence of certain forces, so that the net force in the x direction is Fx, the net force in the y
Oh,
direction
this
is
one!
F-
I know.
y, and the
Oh, okay.
net force in the z direction is Fz. In this case, let's assume that all these forces are conservative, which means there are no dissipative influences like friction, air resistance, etc. Let's also assume that the position of the particle is a function of time that's dictated by three coordinates, x of t, y of t, and z of t. So we've got ourselves a single particle system in 3 dimensions.
It's a good
Now,
video.
what's the kinetic energy of this particle? Well, it's given by the sum of the kinetic energies in the x direction, in the y direction, and in the z direction. The
This
dot
is-
superscript, by the way, denotes a derivative in time. So
Right, what-
x dot would
What I was thinking about, right, when you talk about this, right, I was thinking of if it like you applying this same thing to like a social structure or something.
Social structure too. That's
That-
the genius. That's the genius
this
of.
is-
That's the genius of Edgeworth. Edgeworth, that great economist.
Yeah.
And how we actually do that? Well, perhaps I'll explain you that.
Now I get this, right? This is like in order
Let's see
to
it yet.
in order to
would be the derivative of x with respect to time, which is just the velocity in the x direction. Now, in addition to the kinetic energy, the particle also has a potential energy given by u, which is a function of the particle's position. If you remember your first year physics courses, then you probably know that the kinetic energy plus the potential energy is the total energy. After all, that's probably the biggest reason to include these two quantities in a physics problem. You want to find the total energy. But in this video, I won't be adding the kinetic and potential energy, I'll be subtracting them. Now you might wonder why I'm subtracting the kinetic and potential energies. After all, subtracting them doesn't give you anything physically meaningful like total energy. Or does it? I'm going to ask you to suspend your disbelief and believe me when I say that Ek minus u is indeed a meaningful physical quantity. In fact, it even has a name. It's called the Lagrangian of the system, which I'll denote by this fancy L. Now, because the kinetic energy depends on the velocities of the particle, so x dot, y dot, and z dot, and because the potential energy depends on the position of the particle x, y, and z, we can say that the Lagrangian of the particle depends on all the positions and their time derivatives. Let's manipulate this Lagrangian quantity now. We'll start by taking the partial derivative with respect to x, which would just turn out to be the negative partial of u with respect to x, because only u depends on x. The kinetic energy just depends on the velocities. Now, recall what I said earlier about the forces being conservative? Well, we can apply that assumption here. Because the forces are conservative, F is equal to the negative of the gradient of u, which in this case would mean that the negative partial of u with respect to x can be written as Fx, or the force in the x direction. The next derivative we'll take is the partial of L with respect to x dot, which is the same as writing the partial of Ek with respect to x dot, because Ek is the only term in the Lagrangian that actually depends on x dot. We can go up to the expression for Ek and see that the partial of Ek with respect to x dot.
So this step, from fx to et and x dot, this derivative, this fx is turning the unknowns into one unknown.
No, it's just taking the thing in the x direction, right? And then you have to know the velocity in the y direction and the z direction in order to go for Ek, like the total kinetic energy and shit.
No, but this kinetic energy, this is the unification into all the unknowns are being reduced to one unknown.
No, that's just him solving this part.
This part, but in the sense of total Ek.
Yeah, in the total Ek is equal to all of these, right? Okay, so you have to.
You have to go for y and z too.
So Ek is the vector, right? Ek is the quantity is a vector, right? Like energy can be a vector, right? But it's Ek is a scalar, right?
He's using just the unknowns.
Right. Okay. So it's kind of like the combination of all of these.
But let's see how that combination
which
can
is
be
just the
valid.
momentum in the x direction. Now, what if we take the time derivative of this whole equation? Well, in that case, we'll get the time derivative of partial L partial x dot equals the time derivative of the x momentum.
So now we have velocity.
But look at this quantity on the right-hand side, the derivative of x momentum with respect to time. We already know that Newton's second law says that the net force in the x direction is equal to the rate of change of x momentum. And since the force Fx equals the derivative of the Lagrangian with respect to x, and since the rate of change of momentum equals the time derivative of dl dx dot, we can say that the partial of L with respect to x equals the time derivative of the partial of L with respect to x dot using Newton's second law. And this equation is called a Lagrange equation. You can perform the exact same derivation for the y and z coordinates, and when you do that, you find that there are a total
one
of 3
Lagrangian equation.
for the particle p in the 3 dimensions. Now, the idea behind these 3 Lagrange equations is that you can solve them in order to determine the equation of motion of your particle. The reasoning behind that is that since the Lagrange equations are equivalent to Newton's second law, as I just demonstrated, we can use the Lagrange equations just like we can use Newton's second law to determine the equations of motion of our particle. So in other words, determining x of t, y of t, z of t.
So you get what he's trying to say, right? So he's
But
he's
is
trying
he
to
going to
say,
turn it into a single Lagrangian?
oh, yeah, you can do that if you do all of these
Yes.
together. So the thing is the Lagrangian, right? So E minus U, right? Like we know what E plus U is, right? Okay, so like
E gets the kinetic energy minus the potential
it's just
energy.
like it's just like a thing that he made up, right?
Made
and
up.
he called it Lagrangian, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now this Lagrangian is equal to the Newton's second law of motion, right? So that's so we can use that to derive the x of t and y of t.
There's something else also that's implicated from these Lagrange equations in x, y, and z. If you look at these Lagrange equations, you'll see that they're pretty much the same as the Euler-Lagrange equations we covered in
Euler, which covers flows. Euler equations used in economics very much.
The only differences have to do with the different variables, but other than that, these Lagrange equations look exactly like the Euler-Lagrange equations. And because they very strongly resemble the Euler-Lagrange equations, there must be some functional that's being made stationary by these three Lagrange equations.
Yeah.
That functional being made stationary is called the action integral, given by S equals the integral from t1 to t2 of L dt. And speaking of the action integral, now that we've introduced the action quantity, we are now in a position to talk about the principle of stationary action, also known as Hamilton's principle. The principle of stationary action says that if I have a particle p traveling from one point to another in a given time interval from t1 to t2, the path the particle traverses is such that this action integral is stationary. In other words, the particle traverses a path such that the integral from t1 to t2 of the Lagrangian, the kinetic minus the potential energy, is stationary. Now, in order to make this action integral stationary, we need to solve the Lagrange equations, which will give us the equations of motion of the particle. For instance, if we have a particle in the Cartesian coordinate system with coordinates x, y, and z, the Lagrange equations that will allow us to make this action integral stationary are simply found by applying Euler-Lagrange to this action integral. And those Lagrange equations will look something like this. Now, we don't necessarily need to be in Cartesian coordinates to apply the principle of stationary action. We could just as easily use cylindrical coordinates or spherical coordinates. And in general, we can use a generalized coordinate system given by Q1, Q2, and Q3 and formulate the exact same Lagrange equations for that generalized coordinate system where Q1, Q2, and Q3 can be any nice enough coordinates that you want. And this is one reason that the Lagrange equations are so useful when determining a particle's trajectory in time. It's because we can easily apply them to other coordinate systems. Now let's do an example where we not only apply the principle of stationary action, but also give some intuition behind it. Say we have a ball of mass m, and say we throw that ball up in the air with some initial velocity from a vertical level of y equals 0. Gravity is acting downwards and the direction of positive y is up. Let's also suppose that it takes capital T seconds for the ball to come back down. Now you probably already know from your classical mechanics courses that if I were to plot the trajectory y of the particle as a function of time, the path would follow a parabola in time. But let's actually show, using the principle of stationary action, that the particle follows a parabolic trajectory in time. And in order to use the principle of stationary action, we need to formulate the Lagrangian, which is the kinetic minus potential energy. So starting with the kinetic energy of the particle, we know that the kinetic energy is 1/2 m times y dot squared. And we know that the potential energy is the gravitational potential energy, which is mgy. In that case, the action integral would be the integral from 0 to capital T of 1/2 m times y dot squared minus mgy. And from this action integral, we can now apply the principle of stationary action, which says that the path the particle takes must make this action integral stationary. And in order to find that path, we need to use the Lagrange equation, which looks something like this. Now we can see that the derivative of the Lagrangian with respect to y is just negative mg, and the derivative of the Lagrangian with respect to y dot is m times y dot. In that case, the Lagrange equation just becomes negative mg equals m times y double dot, or the second derivative of y with respect to t.
And it has the same.
We can cancel the m's and integrate the second order differential equation once to get an expression for y dot. We can then integrate it again to get our equation for the particle's motion, y as a function of time.
Yeah.
And we can then use the fact that y equals 0 at both t equals 0 and t equals capital T to find the integration constants c1 and c2. And when we do that, here's what we'll get for y. And you can see that this is just a parabola with its zeros set at t equals 0 and at t equals capital T. And this agrees with what you would expect from standard classical mechanics. So indeed, the principle of stationary action does give correct results in that, in this case, it confirms what we already know from our first year physics courses. Now, let's get into some intuition behind this stationary action principle.
Okay.
Let's say that my optimal path, my 1/2 times gt times capital T minus t for this problem, is represented by this parabola, the one that I've already drawn up here. What if I drew a path that was taller, that peaked at a higher point, but obeyed the same boundary conditions, so something like 0.6 times g times t times capital T minus t? Well, in that case, the potential energy is higher because the particle peaks at a higher point, and that makes this negative term in the action integral larger, and so it contributes to the action integral becoming smaller overall. However, the kinetic energy needed to get to that higher point is also necessarily higher, so the positive term in the action integral would also be larger, which would contribute to the action integral itself being larger. And when you do the calculation, which is something that I encourage you to do just to prove it to yourself, you'll find that the increase in kinetic energy overpowers the increase in potential energy, such that the action of this higher peaking path is actually larger than the action of the optimal path we just found. But what if I drew a path that was shorter, that peaked at a lower point but obeyed the same boundary conditions, so something like 0.4 times gt times capital T minus t? Well, in that case, the kinetic energy is lower, which makes this positive term in the action integral lower, which contributes to the action being smaller. However, the potential energy to get to that lower point is also necessarily lower, so the negative term in the action integral would be lower as well. Now, when you do the calculation, again, something that I encourage you to do, you'll find that the decrease in potential energy actually offsets the decrease in kinetic energy, such that the action of this lower peaking path is again larger than the action of our optimal path. So the actions of both of these nearby paths are larger than the action of the optimal path we computed using the principle of stationary action. And this would suggest to you that the optimal path actually makes the action a local minimum. So intuitively, you can see that the optimal path of the particle falling under gravity is a path that corresponds to a local minimum in the action integral, because the surrounding paths all make the action integral larger.
So it's more of
local minimum.
So it's more of whatever path, whatever other path
You
will
use,
take.
there is one optimal path.
There is one optimal path, right?
And
that is the local minimum.
That's a local minimum.
Yeah.
Now, what's a local minimum? Now, go to the initial statement that was about.
Wait, what were we talking about?
The initial principle we talked about. The diagram I made.
Oh yeah.
Yes, this one. So, what is a local minimum?
Yeah.
Local minimum is turning the unknowns in the system to a local combined unknown.
But that is like you saying that you can take many different unknowns, right? Many different unknowns, right? Not just one. Many different unknowns, when it comes to like the social structure. I'm not talking about like science
let's
and
take
shit.
an example of economics.
Alright.
Suppose this bottle of water,
Yeah.
you are ready to pay 10 rupees for it.
Okay.
Someone else is ready to pay 20 rupees for it. Someone else is ready to pay 50 for it.
Yeah.
The thing is, the price of that bottle is not for you, not for that 50 rupees guy, not for that 20 rupees guy.
Yeah.
The price is your average.
Yeah.
And that average is going to be constructed into a slope, let's say,
Yeah.
a local minimum.
And whatever the price is the local minimum.
And whatever the price actually turns out to be, that's the local minimum. And that price reveals the value of the bottle. Now, the value of the bottle is not 10 rupees, not 30 rupees, not 50 rupees. Perhaps it's 25. If that's the price, it actually reveals the value of the value of the bottle in terms of what? In terms of the local linearity of the system. In terms of aggregation of the system. In terms of the average of the system.
What I'm trying to say is that the knowns and unknowns, right?
Now the unknowns are 10, 30, and 50.
Yeah.
They are turning into one unknown.
Okay.
Which is going to be the value.
But like in this stationary action, those were not unknowns. Those were knowns.
Those were unknowns in the sense that they do not tell you about the itself a single coordinate of the point fx. Itself the single coordinate fz.
Okay, so let me explain this to you. Like
they are not going to reveal the path of the particle.
You're like 30. You said 30. And 40, 50, right? So that information is for calculating like how did we get to that 30.
How did we get to that 30?
Not
and itself, the thing is, the bottle has not been sold yet. There is no price for it yet.
There is a
So the 10, the 30, the 40, the 50, they're unknowns because they have not been revealed yet. Nobody has bought the bottle because there has not been established a price yet.
Every single price, right, in this 30, 40 and 50, right, all of them, what caused someone to say that this is the price, right, all of them can be derived. Like all of them can be derived and shit, right? All of them, and all of them will have their own justification.
But in themselves, they are unknowns with respect to the value of the bottle. Because the value is going to be only determined in the aggregate, in the average. And that average is when neither it is 10, neither nor 40, nor 50.
Nor 50. All right. So then what is the optimal price? Again, being the local minimum is not like for every price for even the 30.
It's not.
There is a local minimum.
Yes.
That arrives to the 30.
Yes.
There's a local minima that arrives to a 40. There is a local minima that arrives to a 50.
There is a local minima, but the path.
Yeah.
The path is stationary. I mean, if suppose there does exist some real price that represents the true value of that bottle.
Of that bottle. Yeah.
Now that bottle is gonna have a unique price path. We don't know that yet.
We don't know that yet.
But
right.
it is
But
going
how
to
do
be
you,
that
how are you like? So that is that's the thing that
the whole philosophy behind actually the whole notion, the whole intuition behind this is that there are local informations.
how do you
There are
can-
local informations
yeah.
which make you reach the aggregate optimal.
Let me
The total
let me
optimal.
let me ask this question. I think this will clear it up. Right? What? How do you determine the price, the value?
The value.
The value. How do you like this? Is there
Now,
like
the standard way is the value
Yeah.
is equal to the price, because how can a value, suppose something has price lower than its value,
yeah.
then if its value is greater, people are going to demand more, such that its demand is
You're
never
saying,
fulfilled.
So you're saying that value is equal to the price.
It should be equal to the
It
price.
should be equal to the price.
It must be equal to the
Right.
price. Otherwise,
Now, how do you determine value?
what people are ready to pay for that good.
It's the same thing as saying these things are equal. But I'm saying, how do you determine value in itself? Alright. How do you determine the price?
Well, determine the price. It's an interactive process. You, the producer has some cost.
I mean, if you determine the price, if you determine the value, then you determine the price as well.
Yes, but value is an abstract thing.
Yeah.
Price is its translation into something real.
Into something real. Alright.
So when you arrive at price,
then you can assign a value.
then you have actually arrived at value.
At value.
That's actually market value. Now,
Yeah.
what would a communist Marxist Dumbo say?
Oh my God! Holy shit! What would he
A Marxist Dumbo would say that the bottle
Yeah.
has an intrinsic value. Now, what is an intrinsic value? They say, well, intrinsic value is use value. Let's say it's use value. They say it's use value.
Yeah.
Well, use value is opposite. They say is the opposite of exchange value. But will you pay for something in exchange value, which is the price,
Yeah.
for something which you're not going to use?
I think
You'll always pay for something which you're going to use.
I-
It has some use value.
I think the value, it has an intrinsic value, right? That intrinsic value
No,
that
but
it
how
has
do you determine the intrinsic value?
because the only like you can't value is an abstract, right?
Yes.
So you can only determine the value through the price and
who can provide the information in the form of prices? Who? The customers.
Okay.
The customers.
Okay.
Only they can do that.
So price is this one number that is
Interactively determined by the society. And that's the democratic, that's the so-called, let's say, the social democratic root of market price. And this process, these commie dumbos never understand. Now, what is intrinsic value? How do you? It's like intrinsic. This bottle is beautiful.
Yeah.
This bottle sings.
Yeah.
This bottle
sings is not an intrinsic. Right. Okay.
I mean, whatever. I mean,
Yeah,
it's such a ridiculous notion.
Yeah.
So how do you define value in intrinsic terms? That's like the Kantian thing in itself, which you can never know.
I think I'll have to. Yeah.
But that was the point.
Look into it more.
Let's
What the
move
fuck?
on.
Where did we land?
Why did we come here?
Yeah. Why did we come here?
We were talking about some idea of value.
Yeah, some idea of value.
Let's
We
go
were talking
back
about
to
the Zizek thing.
Zizek, yes.
Yeah. What the fuck are we doing?
But it was a great video.
Yeah, that was.
It was a great exposition. I hope you people liked it.
Yeah, this is like right.
Mr. Diesel, why are we even talking about this? That's a very good question. That's a good question.
Big
Why
out of
are
our
we?
mind, man.
Why are we even talking about it?
Yeah.
That's a brilliant question.
Yeah. Dude, it's
It's talk. Yes, because we're at talk theory.
Yeah.
That's why we're talking
Yeah, we
about
just
this.
fucking talk about stuff, right? Like fucking, not like the typical fucking thing, right? Oh my god, the oh my god is happening, right? We fucking go deep, right? As deep as balls, right?
No, we're not deep. We're just talking theory.
Yeah, we're talking theory, right? Yeah. What do you mean we're not deep?
Being deep is such a such a little girl,
dude,
sweet little girl.
We are in another dimension.
we're shallow.
It's like we know what we're talking about,
but we don't know why we're talking about. That's a good.
Like it's gone. Like no one is understanding. It's like we're so much in our head right now.
Yallah. That was a very good question. Why are we even talking about this, Miss Digital? Very good, very good. I hope it's a good surprise for you. Jappy, don't bother about it.
The real question is not that why
do we even exist?
Why we are talking about this? The real question is.
Wait, वो नहीं था जुनेद वो.
Do I even exist? Yo, there was a friend of mine.
He used to ask, do I even exist? Now he was मौलाना तारिक जमील की शायरी की वीडियो.
अच्छा.
मौलाना तारिक जमील की एक मौलवी साहब की शायरी की वीडियो लगाई हुई उसने फेसबुक पे. मैंने कहा पता नहीं इनकी हो गया. So we're talking about Zizek.
Yeah, he was so a friend of ours, right? He was questioning whether he exists or not, right? Right? So I think he got it from the Descartes philosophy. I think, therefore I am, right? But like that's not the point that he was trying to make, right? He was thinking, I don't even think, man. I am not even deep enough, right? So how do I even exist? But what that actually is, right, is, I think, therefore I am means like, it was this thing, to explain existence and stuff, right? Like, like you can't be certain about anything in the world, but you can be certain about this fact that you're thinking, right? So therefore, you exist and shit, right?
That was the repetition given by Kant.
Yeah.
Which is, we have to return to some more modest, balanced way of life.
What is the way out of this then? If we
balanced
are not
way
doing
of
a
life.
conservative return
Balanced way of life. These commies.
tradition,
Idiots.
how do we
Balanced
exit this
way of
stage?
life.
I
What is
am
balance?
here a Marxist in the sense that the only liberation goes.
We've only watched this video for like 2 minutes. And it's an hour-long video, and we have been streaming for 2 hours. Oh my god.
Through capitalism. Capitalism, as Marx wrote in Communist Manifesto together with Engels, but especially elaborated it later, there is something nonetheless so liberating, emancipatory in this fluidification of everything, permanent, dynamic, and so on and so on. And there is no step back from this. There is no return to balance. And let me give you a plastic example, simple one. You know, when many...
There is no step back from capitalism.
Yes, they now openly admit this fact.
No, but like
That the success of the markets is irreversible. And there is no other system that can compete or beat it.
no, he's saying we can never get to the balance if capitalism is alive. So we must fucking. But that's not what Marx was saying. Marx was saying surplus comes from capitalism.
Yes.
So, but like, what the fuck is he talking about?
He's saying that the balance or stability is not possible in capitalism, so we should not even think about it.
Oh, that is not good. No, it is not possible in capitalism. He's right.
Yes, because growth is a dynamic process which is always even. Stability itself needs growth.
Yeah.
Because the problem, you know what the problem is?
The
problem is what post-commies, the postmodernists don't understand, which is that if you eat these chips,
Yeah.
if I eat these chips,
Yeah.
it's no more there. Now, this very difficult fact.
It doesn't ping. Therefore, it doesn't.
No.
Yeah.
This very difficult fact is incomprehensible to postmodernists.
Oh.
You know, they deny the line. What is the line? Like any line.
So I
The
feel
thing,
like
line is a violence.
I like
Logic is a line from 0 to 1.
Right, I want to know this. Right, was Marx really an evil person? Right, or is he interpreted that way? Is Marx the one saying, fucking like someone saying, right, this class will rise up and they will do this. That is like someone making a prediction, right? But someone saying, now you must rise.
He said that.
That's two different things. So he's like the now you must rise guy as well.
Yes.
Well, that's kind of weird. That is okay. So now this is where I'm against it. Yeah, if he, but like from what I don't know, like the watered down version of like whatever when you search on Google, whatever you hear about Marx, right? It's just them describing the theory, right? And then it's like
You know the thing I was talking about.
Yeah.
The line. The line the post-commies don't understand.
What is it?
It's a line. Let's do the process in reverse. Let's say this chips being there is 0.
Yeah.
And I eating it is 1.
Yeah.
They think the line doesn't exist.
The line does not exist.
The line
The
does not exist.
line. The line. I thought you were talking about the line.
The line.
What the fuck? I was like, wait.
I'm not talking lion. I'm talking the line.
He was talking about lion, like a tiger, like a fucking. And I'm like thinking.
So you people, please think about it. Why do they say such a stupid thing? And that's why they cannot understand that when I eat the chips, it's no more there.
Oh my fucking god, man!
How difficult that is to understand.
That is very difficult to understand.
That's really postmodern to understand.
Oh my god, man!
Now they dispute the fact. They say the line.
Yeah.
And
the witch and the
chips. And the eating of the chips,
and
the chips not being there is not true. You can eat the chips, and still imagine that it's there. It's just your knowledge of the line is a violence. Is a violence of the logic. Is the violence of the logic of man.
I have no idea what the fuck you're saying.
It's actually really interesting if you think about it. They say. It's violence if you say that.
That the chips does not like. Can you like say like just सीधी तरह बोल यार
कि कोई कुछ है और कुछ नहीं है. The difference between what is there and what is not there.
What is an example of that? Give me an example of that.
Like simple logic.
Yeah. Okay.
That X and non-X, if you say X and non-X are not equal, they will dispute that because you're drawing a line.
Why would they dispute that?
Because they think that line is linear and line is logical, and why is the line not like that?
Because we're not talking about
Let's say-
math here. We're talking about like the social structure and shit. You can't.
Yes,
bottle
we're
it
actually
down
talking. We're talking epistemology.
We can't bottle it down to math because.
No,
here's the
it's
thing.
not math. What we're talking here is not math.
Yeah.
It's the basic precepts or percepts.
Oh my god. There are no concepts without percepts and no percepts without.
Actually, the possibility of percepts and concepts.
Alright. Again.
They dispute this thing because it's a very methodic dispute. They think why is not line like draw a line?
Alright. Okay. Why is a line not? But line is just it's just like a description. A line. If you talk
It's a
about
great
it,
description. It's a
if
very
you talk
important
about it like
description
mathematically, what is
because
a line?
they say Marx is only wrong if you think the line is right. And if the line is right, then it's violent. Now, this line is occupying a space.
Okay.
Suppose the
Change it to
space is
brush. Just change it to brush. Yeah. Right.
this is the space.
Yeah. Right.
This line is creating a violence in.
Right. Okay.
Suppose here is the chips.
Yeah. Okay.
And when you eat it, it's not here.
Okay. No, it's not here.
It's gone.
Yeah.
So it is if this is the
You were just talking about Hegel.
If this is the existence space of the
Yeah.
line, the separable space, then this is the non-existence one, and they say the trade-off is actually a violence. Now, it actually they try to defy the basic logic. What is the basic logic? The
What
basic
are you
logic.
talking about,
The basic logic is this line.
Bro, what the fuck are you?
The basic logic is this line, which separates,
Okay.
suppose, the x from non-x.
Okay. Okay. Dude.
You know, there's a simple solution for that. Actually, a formal solution for this too.
What's the topic though?
The topic is we're talking about commies.
What the fuck are we?
Yes, the commies, the post-commies. And now, it actually formally relates with Marx because Marx called. This is a substance theory which denies the line. This is a substantialist philosophy. This is a philosophy of shit eating. The program is on. Yes, this whole episode is topic the philosophizing shit eating. Now, if suppose
the topic is this guy has a master's degree.
Okay, this suppose this.
No, but mine did not break. I'm just like
This half space. Yes, this half space.
What are you like? What are you like tangibly talking about? Like, I'm not
I'm
getting the
gonna come to
analogies.
that.
Like, what are you trying to analogize? Like, what is your analogy?
Here.
You're just explaining the analogy right now.
Suppose this here is what was I gonna
The
say?
chip is also an analogy. To what? To what are you giving the analogy of the chip?
Anything.
Anything?
Like
for example, okay.
Like dead or alive, like being there, not being there.
Yeah.
Good or bad.
So
trans or woman or man.
Right. Okay. To the binaries.
To the binaries. Yes.
Yes. To the binaries.
And what was I gonna say? Yes, this is a half space.
Yeah. But you do know that the real world does not consist in binaries.
It does.
No.
This line is the binary.
I want to talk to you about this, right? I don't think the real world exists in binaries.
It does.
Because binaries mean that there is just one set of universals, right? That we can, if it's binaries, then we can make all these universals through science as well. Right? There is no need for fucking social structures and shit. Like there is no need for like social structure. Like then social science becomes like an actual science. If things in the real world are like binaries, then social science becomes like an actual science. It's not just like the science, like the social science.
Well, the object, the purpose of any kind of knowledge is to reach the binary.
Yes, I do know that.
The binary in the sense of developing intuitions of things, understanding things.
Do you know the kinetic theory of gas particles?
No.
Right, okay, let me explain this to you. Right now, now, here's the thing. In order to predict, okay, they're like fucking gas particles in this shit and stuff, right? Okay, every single gas particle, right? We can go with like if there was like just one particle in this, is like every single particle has a momentum and a position, right? Okay, so if we know like that is the Newton's law and stuff, right? If we know, right, what is the position and the momentum of this particle at any given point, we can predict its motion, right? For example, this is here, the position and the velocity of it, right? You can probably tell its trajectory that it's gonna go down, right? Okay, so now, but here's the thing. The world, when we go down to like a deeper level, quantum mechanics and shit, right? The deeper level, right? The world at the quantum mechanics state, and I'm not just saying that out of like opinion or something, right? It says that the world is intrinsically made up of uncertainty, right? There's like intrinsic uncertainty, right? It is not discrete, right? It is not in binaries and shit, right? The world is is very continuous.
Okay, good.
Right?
Here I come.
Yeah.
The thing I was talking about, the line was, let's say this is the line. And this is the whole space in which the line exists. Now the thing is, in mathematical statistics, the line is actually additive. What is additive? A is equal to B, B plus C.
Right, okay. No.
Line is additive.
Yeah,
Let's say
you can add
this part.
Okay. No, that's not even what we're
this is
okay.
B.
Okay.
This is C.
Yeah.
And
well,
this
you can
whatever.
chop the line up into different pieces.
And this is additive.
Yeah, obviously if you'll add them together and then you'll get the whole line.
And then it is additively separable.
Okay.
Do you know what is the additive separability? Suppose this is D.
Yeah.
So if you say it is actually B plus D.
I have been to a university, right? Okay. Yeah.
then it's again the same thing. Do you
How
understand?
is that? How is that?
That's
is,
really.
that
I'm
is
going to
you
come to
just-
that.
you just-
I'm going to come to that.
Right,
I'm going to
okay.
come to that. Now, if you put this segment of the line here,
Yeah.
and this segment of the line here,
Okay.
it's still going to be the same thing.
It's not going to be the same thing.
It's going to be the same
It's
thing.
not going to be the same thing.
The same magnitude. If you pick up this magnitude, replace it with this magnitude.
Yes, the
and
magnitude.
put that
the ma-
magnitude here.
Yeah. All right. Okay. If the magnitudes
It's
of
the same.
are the same,
Are the
then
same.
you're not essentially changing them.
You're not essentially
You're
changing
not
them.
changing them.
Yes.
Because
that
the
was the
magnitude
point.
is the same.
That was the point. Because
Because there is
additively,
no way you're taking a fucking metaphorical thing and picking it up and
Yes.
linking it or like additively
Now- now-
replacing it.
this separation is additive separability.
Okay.
Now let's suppose this line is spanning this whole space.
Okay.
Now put this segment
Yeah.
over certain magnitude C
Okay.
and replace it with this segment over certain magnitude C.
Yeah, I mean mathematically you can say
If
that.
you change that, then again it's, you know, what is uncertainty formally? Uncertainty is additive and additively separable, a pure uncertainty. Now, what I'm trying to say is the uncertainty itself is additive, uncertainty itself is a line.
What I'm trying to say is that the uncertainty, right? The uncertainty and everything, it can be additive or like whatever.
Additively
right?
separable.
Right? But the thing is, every single point of it, the C, the D, like all of these things, right? They are generated through a different process, right? For example, you can look at a freeze frame of a that is when the wave function collapses, right? But you can never have the whole information from that.
No, but you can have that martingale property, which is it's a zero mean Markov process.
And this is where time comes in, right?
Time comes in.
Time
Time is also linear.
Listen, wait a minute. Time, if you look at things in a freeze frame, right? In a freeze frame, okay? No time moving, then you can say, and I will say it with you, that the whole world is discrete.
I'm not saying it's discrete. The continuity is itself additive. That's asymptotic continuity. The continuity you were talking about,
Yeah.
it's linear, which means it is additive and it implies the line too.
It is not predictable. That's what I'm trying to say.
I'm saying
It's not
however it is predictable. Suppose it's a zero mean process. T1, T2, T3, T4. At every turn, the mean value is zero.
It is impossible. It is virtually impossible to know every single particles in this.
I'm not saying that. I'm not actually saying that. The thing is, what I'm trying to imply is a line, suppose an additive line like this, this. An additive line implies the whole space.
Okay.
It implies this whole space.
You're just saying it's, but that's not true. That's
it is
not true.
It's a
Okay,
well-established
this is why the additive line thing will not work, right? Because you're saying C, D, and all of this thing. You're right now assuming that every single part you've chopped this up into is the same.
They're the same in magnitude because they are the same by magnitude.
If they are the same in the magnitude, then we're talking about this thing, man. Then if this is this particle, or for example, all of these particles, right? They cannot be the same magnitude.
Let's take a particular particle. I'm not saying how will...
Yeah, you take a particular particle, yes, you can tell its trajectory by its,
And if it's purely random, then it's a zero mean process. That particle is a zero mean process, which is again a line.
Of course, you can make like macro structures, right, from the kinetic gas theory, because we did not know we can't know. So we make like a statistical model on the surface, like
the statistical model,
like the Charles law, the Boyle's law, and all
the
of that.
The statistical model itself is additive.
But we don't. Yeah, the statistical model itself is additive, right? That I know. But like, you know, the RV, that means we are arriving at we're not looking at problems that, you know, to say this is to say that every single lived experience is the same. And that is not possible. Every single lived experience
thing is like...
is not the same.
I'm not actually making that argument here yet.
But whatever you're saying, that implies this thing. That
it will imply in a nuanced way when we reach to that. So, a line is always there even in a space which is called uncertainty space. And that line is let's say it's a zero mean Markov process. It's a statistical additive line.
Okay. What the fuck? No one, are they're talking English?
So even if the space, so even if from 0, which is chips, to 1 where there is no chips,
okay,
if this line is if this line, what was I gonna say? If this line was not like this, it was like this, as postmodernists say. Even if it never reaches from 0 to 1.
No, the postmodernists are
they do say
are not saying that.
They are saying that. I mean that in a most formal way. I mean, if you read Derrida and Deleuze and, let's say...
They're saying every single path, right? The chips being there or not being there is the same because it is my truth that the chips is there, right?
No.
It is...
If there are many paths, no, the chips is not, when it's been eaten, it's not that it's not there anymore.
Yeah.
It's that it is, well, it can take many other paths.
Right.
But still, if it takes all of the possible space that it can take, its paths can go all spaghetti.
Yeah.
Still, that space is additively separable. This chunk in magnitude is, if replaced with this chunk in magnitude, it still implies the line. You understand?
Yeah, the line still exists.
Yes, the line exists.
The line still... I know that the line still exists. Even if you go...
After boring you with this postmodern thing.
Yeah, essentially you just tried to say this, right? What I implied. You just tried to say this. That the real thing is that there is no chips here, right? And no matter how you put it, whatever your truth is, right? Whatever chips being there or not, but the reality of the chips not being there, right? That's just like fucking facts don't care about your feelings. You can just set this stuff and, you know.
Now let's listen to a very impressive example of this sort by the great mathematician Brouwer.
My God, what the fuck, man?
You know what that analogy is?
What?
He says, even relativity, the relativity, let's say somebody like, he's not talking in that sense, he was talking in Einstein's sense.
Einstein's relativity, yeah.
But let's say there is moral relativism, or there is phenomenal relativism, which is Foucault's relativism.
Okay.
Everything is relative. Like every sweet little girl says, it's relative, it's subjective. Well, it's subjective. Okay. Like every Judith Butler says.
I think
So the thing is, if you say something is relative,
yeah.
Brouwer explains that even relativity is linear. How that is linear? He says that relativity is just a line with one segment taken
Yeah.
and other omitted, and then next taken and the next omitted. But still, the understanding of the incidence of relativity is along the line.
I don't get the whole, like I'm like the physics guy, right? I understand.
Let's plot relativity.
I understand.
Let's plot relativity in
the most mathematical sense.
Yes,
right?
it's a mathematical sense, but it's also the philosophy of mathematical sense.
Right. Okay, you gotta go to paint.
Because it was the philosophy of mathematics book
you-
and question.
Okay.
So actually, it's basically the philosophy of mathematics that postmodernists question.
Philosophy of mathematics.
Yes. So suppose this is the line.
Yeah. The
Again.
line exists.
Relativity. What is relativity? This relative to this.
No, that's not.
This relative to this.
that's not-
Actually, in intuition, it is the same thing. It's in the very abstract, but the argument is this with respect to this, with this respect to this, this relative to this, relative to this, but still, suppose the line is not there,
Right. Oh
but
my
it's
god.
still there.
Right. Okay.
Brouwer's point is that it is still there.
What does the line represent in relativity terms? Right. Like relativity, right? That
What
means
is Einstein's relativity?
Einstein's relativity is, right. I'm just gonna tell you like the special one, right? So Einstein's relativity is, it has like these points that the speed of light, right? The speed of light is a constant, right? Speed of light is a constant,
Now
Yeah.
this is the line
right?
against which everything is considered relative.
Yes.
That's it.
Everything
That
is
proves the
considered.
point of Brouwer. Do you understand? Now he
No.
devised a universal line. Now what is that universal line?
Mm-hmm.
Speed of light. A constant.
Yeah.
A universal constant. Now
Yeah.
let's take a break for bathroom. You think
Alright,
about it.
alright.
Think about it.
Okay. What the fuck are we talking about even? I don't know. Dude, okay, so let me explain something to you guys and stuff, okay? So what's happening here is I am fucking baked out of my mind, right? And we are, Wilson tried to see it from, no, it's okay. So here's the problem with trying to see things from Escobar's perspective, right? Is that I very much fully know. Okay, so this is the debate that's going on, right? The debate that's going on is he's saying, okay, that that all of this, right? All of this is like fucking in ones and zeros, right? There's like absolute universals and shit, right? To stuff the line, okay? There's this line that exists, okay? And what I am trying to say is, sure, but like in the fucking real world, in the social world and stuff, right? The social structures and shit, right? There is that line, right? That line is not like the line, like it's very continuous and shit, right? That's what I'm trying to say, right? Yeah. This is the dumbest shit I've ever heard, I swear to God. Wait, what? So, relating scientific principles to the social phenomenons and shit, right? Yeah. And then talking physics, and you are talking no. That's not what's happening, right? But he's trying to use is. Oh my God, it's very. It's. Fuck, man. Right? How do I explain this? In another dimension, right? That's what I'm trying to explain. What we're trying to explain is I am talking about the physics, right? We're both talking about the physics, and he's saying just because this is like a mathematical thing, right? So using mathematics to fucking govern the social structures which are not be, and I'm saying they cannot be governed by mathematics, because mathematics is like the logic, it comes from logic being discrete, right? That's not how the real world works. That's what I'm trying to fucking say. Yeah.
Should we listen to Zizek then?
Alright, okay.
Let's just listen to him now.
This whole stream was supposed to be us fucking listening to Zizek, right? And
actually, it was not.
It was not. No, we were.
It was, but well, things have their way.
Hey, dude. Okay, just we are in another dimension, right? You just fucking just believe that whatever is going on is very meaningful.
Yes, you must think that. Like a religious duty.
Yeah, it's like we're not like fucking talking normal shit, like, you know, like the fucking, oh my God, what is the meaning of life? Oh my God, let's just, you know, we're like fucking going deeper into philosophy.
Deeper into surfaces. The shallow surfaces. The deep shallow surfaces.
Yeah. Still right where you he left for like 15 minutes, came back, and he's like, you're still at 3 minutes.
Oh my God. I think how long has been. I think we should leave it for the next episode.
Yeah, fuck this guy. Alright, Zizek, he's a fucking commie bastard.
What's been the time for how long has been the stream?
I don't know. We've been streaming for 3 hours. It's 5.
Let's leave Zizek for the next episode, and we should just.
We should cover every 3 minutes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Okay, so you guys, okay, so this is sort of, you know, yeah, man. This is what actual talking theory is like.
This is
right?
what life has brought you to.
Yeah, it's not like the fucking surface level debates and shit. Oh my God. This guy is talking about this thing and all of this. Oh my God, AI is gonna take over the world, man. It's not like surface level shit, right? And we're not. This gives Pawsanabi a run for his money. Yes, true, right? Fucking Hasanabi is a cuck and he's a liberal, right? I don't know. I don't watch a lot of him. I just watched the.
We'll cover him too, perhaps in.
Yeah. I am trying to.
How long will it take to cover his video?
Silence. There's azan going on.
There is azan. Yes. You shut up.
How does it go?
Last one.
Last one? Right. Okay.
I'm going. So guys, how should we end the?
No, we don't ask them for suggestions, right?
No, I was just talking to myself. I think we should listen to something. Let's say.
I think we should listen to each other more. That will bring about change in the society. See, this is the exact type of shallow shit that we're not talking about, right? I think the world we should listen to. I think the whole fucking, we should tackle the deeper shit. Right? Okay, but what should we listen to? Literally fundamentalists, because there is no. Dude, these are the debates that fucking the greats, fucking Einsteins of the worlds are actually having, right? Not the fucking surface level debate. I mean, just imagine fucking a monolith of its time, Einstein, when he had this as his debate with, what was his name? The guy.
Indian guy.
The Indian guy.
Who's the idiot? Fucking idiot.
No. Man, what was his name?
Rabindranath Tagore.
Yes. So it was.
he was a great idiot.
No, that's not what we say.
Okay.
Right. We think about it, but we don't say it. Right?
Okay.
Right? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, you should check out Wake the Beast on Twitch. Wake the Beast? This guy seems like a fucking. Is he woken up? Right? Is he not following the norms of the society? Right?
Who is he?
What is the society? Right?
Society.
He's got awesome discussion content. Dude, whatever he is discussing, right, we are just going miles ahead of him, right? If he is discussing this, we are discussing this, right? Fucking this. Dude. Oh, I miss these, right? This is not just imagine there is one person, right? Like, if I had my whole group of friends, right? There were many, like the Zaki. Right? This would go even more in another dimension, right? It's like fucking.
I would literally start beating the shit out of him.
Yes. It will be in a whole another dimension. Like, we've had people who had come and sat in our group, right? And
What do people think about the Respect for Marriage Act? That is actually, it has violated the First Amendment. The Respect for Freedom Act that even Republicans are cooperating just to if something is happening there, they cannot stop, so why not opt for it? Which is Respect for Equality Act, which puts the homosexual sodomist marriage on equality. On religious equality. On religious equality with.
On religious equality. Oh, no, that's not.
The traditional marriage. And this directly violates the First Amendment. The First Amendment of American Constitution, which says that there is, freedom of speech and then religious liberty. Now, a sodomist can go to a church and can go into a mosque. This is the
Why are you using weird ass words?
well, they're sodomists. So what do you people think about that? There is Equality
Alright,
Act.
here's my opinion on the gay marriage and marriage in general. Alright, I feel like, alright,
No, the First Amendment used to be the soul of the American Constitution, of the American, let's say, Americanism. But now this thing directly violates the First Amendment.
How?
Essentially, it has undone the soul of the First Amendment. How not? Abby, how does it not violate the First Amendment? The First Amendment is about, please tell me if I'm wrong, it is about free speech and religious liberty.
Yeah.
Now if in a
No
mosque...
one's got a fucking gun to your head that you have to fucking go.
You have to give,
I think it's the other way
you have
around.
to give religious benediction to the homosexual marriage. How does that
You
not
have
violate
to?
the...
I don't think that's It's just court. That's just some form of religion, right? For example, like in Christianity,
No,
right?
in
Some
Christianity-
Christian religion trying to be fucking cool and shit, right? Some churches, right? One church trying to be all fucking cool and stuff, right? And going with, all right, this church there is gay marriage.
No,
right?
but
it's not like a whole fucking. That would be like a threat to. That is the most. That would be
so
fucking
that's
outrageous,
not,
man.
You're saying that's not religious marriage. Somebody cannot ask a church to give a benediction to gay marriage, to a homosexual marriage.
I mean, it depends upon from church to church.
But the Equality Act, which was passed by the House, Equality Act, which was passed by the House in 2021, it has not passed the Senate yet. That act eliminates every kind of... No, but they do force the church through...
No, that's not the law.
They do force the church through Equality Act. Equality Act has not passed the Senate yet.
But is there any example of it?
Yeah, let me tell you. Equality Act has not passed the Senate yet. But what is Equality Act? It says there cannot be a sexual or sexual orientation discrimination whatsoever. Which means if a couple goes into a mosque, if a homosexual couple goes into a mosque or into a church to ask that they want to have the benediction, you cannot deny them on religious grounds, even if it's a Catholic church, even if it's a mosque.
If this is happening, right? If this is happening, then true, right? Then true. But if the state, right? I'm not talking about some lunatic going into like a church and saying, this should get. If the state, I'm not even talking about the court of public opinion, right? I'm talking about the state. If the state has the law, right? Then you can say that, alright, but the state does not have the law. It's the fucking court of public opinion. Right? In the court of anything people would say, any and every fucking thing. The whole cancel culture shit, right?
Look.
But is it deeply rooted in the fucking state and stuff? I mean, that way
If the Equality Act passes the Senate, what will happen is, if you deny a homosexual marriage, if you're a pastor and you... If you deny a pastor, if a pastor denies benediction to a homosexual couple,
is it in the law?
In the law, then in Equality Act, in the Equality Act, then they can sue you for sexual discrimination, for sexism.
Is it a part of the law? If they are
Let's
equal
Google
under-
Equality Act. Let's Google Equality Act.
Right. Where is the bill?
Bill,
Tell
Equality
me
Bill.
where. Equality Act. Let me. Equality Act. Like it's.
No, not this one. The U.S. The Equality Act.
U.S.
U.S.
U.S. Huh? Yeah, this Equality Act.
Above.
These are all sponsored posts. Yeah, these are bad.
Go down. Yes, this one. This.
Okay. Let me change. Yeah.
It's still a bill. It is passed the House, but it is not passed the Senate yet.
So it is not under effect.
Yes, not in effect yet.
So then how is that like in the law?
Yeah, let's read the bill.
Right.
The bill says here, the bill prohibits discrimination based on sex, sexual orientation, and gender identity. By the way, there was a transgender act passed in 2018 without our parliamentarians knowing in Pakistan. The same language was used, which was actually imported from the US. The same language was used in that.
Did it pass?
Yes, it did. And we're getting it repealed. Okay. This bill prohibits discrimination based on sex, sexual orientation, gender identity in areas including public accommodations and facilities, education, federal funding, employment, housing, credit, and the jury system. Specifically, the bill defines and includes sex, sexual orientation, and gender identity among the prohibited categories of discrimination or segregation. The bill expands the definition of public accommodations to include places or establishments that provide exhibitions, recreation, exercise, amusement, gatherings, or displays. Now, in gatherings, goods, services, programs, and transportation services. Then the bill allows the Department of Justice to intervene in equal protection actions in federal court on account of sexual orientation or gender identity. The bill prohibits an individual from being denied access to shared facility, including a restroom, a locker room, and a dressing room in accordance with individual's gender identity.
Yeah.
Now, open the bill.
Isn't that?
No, actually, it's going to the perhaps bill summaries. Bill summaries. I had that in my phone actually. Let me check in my phone.
Right. The keyword is public. I told you were wrong. So it's talking about the state institution like park, transportation, and healthcare. Why Saddam Hussein with you? I don't know. That's the synopsis. So it's talking about state institutions like parks, transport. It never says that about religion. Like I've not seen
It is
religion
here actually.
in this.
It is here actually. I'll tell you the page number.
Where do I even fucking click on to? Saddam back for dead misunderstood US law. Tell him he's my favorite dictator. You are his favorite dictator, right?
Nice.
Right. I guess you'll have to show us like that. Whatever you said, like the religious thing is like there and shit. Because alright, if that is the thing, then of course it goes against
The First Amendment.
The First Amendment, right? So if you can show us that, and plus this bill hasn't passed, right? Even if it has the thing, right? It hasn't passed. So there is no. It'll be illegal for someone to, forcibly say, oh, like marry the gay dude. I don't know. Like I don't even think gay people want to get married in the church. They don't give a fuck.
No, they want to.
Really? Do they? I don't know. Aaron's pretty gay. I don't know. Let's be clear. It is forced. If it is forced on religion, I'd be against it. Trust me. Yeah, of course. I mean, it's like a logical thing. You don't let.
They're not gonna ask you for it.
What do you mean?
That's globalism.
Man, you just fucking pull it up. Alright, pull it up, Jamie. Meanwhile, let's take a break from all the heated discussion and talk about how I love all trans people, all gay people, all people of different ethnicities and colors. I think the world is. There are many truths. Okay, I am a postmodern. At heart, right? Okay. What is your least favorite? What the fuck, man? What the fuck kind of question is that? Of course, I hate brown people. Well, I can say that because I am. As much as I may dislike religion in ways, I believe that the freedom. Yeah, I mean that's like so that's what we're. They're not out to get you, man. I'm telling you, they're not out to get you, right? They're not. The gays are not hiding in the bushes. They will not attack you, right? It's gonna be fine, man, right? Yeah. Correction, I am hiding. Oh my god. Protect your butt, boys, right? Protect your butt.
Concerning the race, color, religion, sex, including sexual
and dude, what is up with the fucking victim mentality that the right has now? What the fuck is up with that? Like they are becoming victimized or something. Everyone I hear is, I am the victim.
No, it's like
they where did the balls go?
Okay, yes. It's the page number 25, the Religious Freedom Restoration Act of 1993.
How did you get to this?
Shall not provide a claim concerning or a defense to a claim under a covered title, or provide a basis for challenging the application or enforcement over a covered title. Now, the covered title is
on what page?
Page number 25.
Is it here?
You'll have to. I think you'll have to go to the bill itself.
How do you find the bill, man?
Text. Go into the text. That text.
Yeah.
And
page number?
Page number 25.
I don't think that page is here, but like, what is the heading and stuff?
The heading is you write religious freedom.
Religious freedom.
Like,
isn't there like a section thingy? Like
section is 1107.
1107.
Yes.
1107.
Yes. This.
Right, okay.
The Religious Freedom Restoration Act of the FARA Act of 1993. Actually, many churches in the U.S. have objected to this already.
Okay.
What the?
Alright. Okay. We'll come back to this. Don't worry. It's gonna be fine. Right? I didn't have it on. Right, there it is. This one.
Yes. Religious Freedom Restoration Act of 1993, which many churches actually refer to while objecting to Equality Act,
Yeah.
shall not provide a claim concerning or a defense to a claim under a covered title. What is a covered title? You cannot discriminate on the basis of sexual identity or gender identity, whatever that is, and such things. On or provide a basis for challenging the application or enforcement of a covered title. So this.
It is
Check
in
into
this,
that.
It is in this bill.
In Equality Act, Inequality Bill yet, which is not yet the. So it
it's still
it not only directly challenges the First Amendment, it directly challenges the protection of the First Amendment by the Religious Freedom Restoration Act of 1993. The FARA Act 1993 was actually to protect the religious liberties guaranteed by the First Amendment.
No, but has this bill passed?
It has passed the House in 2021
Okay.
in early Biden administration. Early.
So is it in effect?
Yes, 1993. The FARA Act is 1993, but this bill is Equality Bill 2021 to 22.
Yeah.
It's still under consideration. It's passed the House.
Yeah.
It's just about to pass the Senate.
Oh, actually, interestingly enough, I am allowed in a Catholic churches as a trans person, but not most Protestant ones. I live in a blue state. No, but like this. Alright. What does? So this law is in effect.
No, not in effect yet.
So I mean,
But-
in
but
order to be
look,
in effect,
this thing, this will.
I would be against it because
If
you know,
look,
even if I, yeah.
if this respect for equality, marriage equality, which has just been passed,
Yeah.
if this is passed, if it's just been passed, it's been enforced. That's a stepping stone to this, and this target is already underway.
Okay.
So I think, please, guys, read it, think about it, and hail Trump.
Oh
And
my fucking
let's,
God.
I think, let's end it.
Alright, okay, let's end it. Slippery slope fallacy. Yeah, it is, but like, you know, like if this passes, right, which I'm pretty sure it's not gonna pass, right, because, you know, it's
on its way to pass.
It's not gonna pass, man. It's not. If this passes, right, then the outrage is like fucking, you know, warranted, right? Okay, but like I don't think this is gonna pass. Okay, so yeah, that's. Okay. Take care, right? I will be streaming after this probably.
I hope the First Amendment is not compromised. I actually pray for you.
It will not be compromised. It will pass. The Senate is too right wing, I think. Yeah, but if it is.
No, it's not. It's too left wing. It's not too right wing. It's too left wing. I think you didn't. Let me read that to you again. It says, the Religious Freedom Restoration Act, which protects any kind of impingement on religious liberty, shall not provide a claim concerning or a defense to a claim under a covered title, which means you cannot question the equality of you cannot question the validity of gender identity and homosexuality on the basis of religious grounds.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You, a person living here, right, know about this, right? I don't think the general public, the churches and all of them, they will have a say in it.
The churches have already objected to it.
Yeah, so they have a say in it.
Well, perhaps I don't think so, because the principles, the woke, commie, postmodernist principles from which this principle actually is derived, is not a democratic principle, actually. It is standing on the doctrine of rights, and rights are constitutionally guaranteed as per this doctrine, not democratically decided. Especially when...
Wait. Nothing to read or think about. You have no clue how to read this legislation. I mean, okay, even if this passes, it's not going to do what you said it would do. The First Amendment is not compromised at all.
Well, read about it on the internet. You'll find articles explaining the potential of this thing. And while it's underway in its legislative process. So
I mean, I don't think it's crazy to think, right, that, you know, a legislation like this is gonna be, you know,
passed.
Yeah.
Well, it's passed the House.
Yeah, it's not that.
It has passed the House already.
Yeah.
They think, obviously, and they admit it openly, that
maybe I'll write an article and you can read about it, Dad.
Lovely.
Right, okay.
But it's the section number 1107.
Yeah, this one.
And if you download, it's page number 25. It's in my phone, but here the page number is not showing. So...
Hey, are we not reading this properly? Wait. The restoration...
No, actually you have to... what is the cover title? You have to see that up there. And I have read that already. So I know what what a cover title is.
Okay.
Because
Right. So, given the information and everything, right, and if it says, let's just take it on face value and shit, right, even though you haven't read about it, or like, you know, even if you think Escobar
no,
doesn't
but now the House
take it as face value, it is a bad thing, right? Yeah, like whatever Escobar is saying. Right, like, you know, it's a bad thing if it reads out in that way, right? yeah. Okay, so take care, and we'll have like a more
productive.
Yeah. And after this, we'll have like we'll just chill and shit, right? I think he has to leave. It's 6 a.m. Right, so yeah, take care, boys, again. Yeah, bye.
Allah Hafiz
and stuff. Okay, yes, we say Allah Hafiz, right? Someone type Allah Hafiz and then we'll leave.
Bye.
Khuda Hafiz.
Khuda Hafiz. Mashallah.
Right, okay.
Mashallah.
Peace. Right. Take care. Salam.